Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all well, and looking forward to another PMDG 737-700 series preview stream today in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's great to have you all with us as well. Great to see loads of you guys all tuning in, ready to go from the start. So welcome if you are new to the channel. Gav, Rotafib, Doctor on board, J-Bay, good afternoon, folks. We're at Marrakech Menara Airport today. Golf Mike X-Ray for the 4-letter code. And we're at the PerfectSoft Studios scenery as well. It's payware available on Sim Market, I think. David A, hello. Nerd6, hello to you as well. Hope you guys are okay. Phoenix94, welcome. And everybody else in the live chat too. Bit of a longer one today. We're heading to Aerosoft's Brussels Airport, and very special, exciting preview today of a new livery which has been painted by one of the PMDG testers and painters, Steve, so thank you very much for him sending it over to us. And here we go, the TUI Belgium 737. Look at that. There we are, with all the ground equipment in place. Absolutely stunning. Our call sign for TUI Belgium is Beauty, so Beauty 8 Hotel Charlie for the call sign today. Real world routes, although in real life it departs in the evening, a lot later in the day. Philip, hello to you, good evening. Awesome. Great to have you fly along. We've got the PMDG ground equipment in place, the catering on the rear galley, and the loaders doing the magic in the front. Passenger boarding coach as well with the stairs. Dark, yes. Recon, hello to you, welcome. Yes, it is coming to Xbox. Once Sobo released the WASM module stuff for the developers, effectively. So it's down to them to decide effectively what they want to do. But it's going to be after Sim Update 10, I think, from what the forecast suggests. Look at that. How good does that livery look, folks? Nice, right? MA's Taste, hello to you as well. Hello. I hope you're all good. Right, let's dive in, shall we? Nice scenery. Fitzy in Melbourne, good evening to you. So far, what we've done is parking brake set, battery standby power, and emergency exit lights on, guards closed. So 1, 2, 3 guards closed there. Lights as required, and we've aligned the IRS. We've done our cautions and our fire tests and things too. Passenger signs are on auto, and the electric hydraulic pumps are on. Yaw damper on the overhead here has been switched on. There's no warning lights. And we worked down this first column to make sure it's all on normal, and source is on auto. Window heat on the top as well is already switched on. And we're now going to pop the aft fuel pump on. And what we can do is hit flight plan request. We're going to start adding it in here. And there's our Simbury flight plan. Golf Mike X-Ray Echo Bravo Bravo Romeo to Brussels. 1,312 nautical miles. Aaron, so I've got the Turtle Beach Velocity 1 flights here, and it is really good with the 737. In fact, most of the aircraft that I've got, it's very nice to use on. Recon phase, end of summer for Sim Update 10. Christopher, good afternoon. Ronnie, good evening to you as well. Very late for you guys over in Australia. Great to have you tune in. Let's activate that so you can see our departure already. Click. Flight number, JAF 8 Hotel Charlie. So JAF Hotel Charlie. In it goes. Departure arrivals, departing 28, sorry. And we're doing the MABAP 4 Delta departure. MABA 4D. Execute into the legs page. And that's looking pretty good. 7 pages. This is the longest route we've done so far with this aircraft. FS actions, we can go to ground services, active for the ground power. We don't want to release them, but we do want to release the passenger bus. It's going to start to drive away in a second. Hint, hint. He was just waiting for the thumbs up, I'm sure. Away he goes. Aft galley release. Let's have a little look at this animation here. Doors just being closed. There goes the passenger bus, and look at that. Very nice. So he will reverse, and he'll make his way off the apron area back to wherever he came from. And we need to get rid of the loaders as well. Back he goes. Going to release the stairs. That will also close the doors and release the loaders and the carts. So all we've got now is ground power. In the overhead, aft, low pressure warning light extinguished, and APU start. Ian, Andy, hello folks, welcome. So we're going to wait for the APU to kick in basically, but we've got maybe a minute or so before that does, and therefore we can return to this and continue. Our fuel for today is the most we've ever taken actually so far, 11,300 kilos of fuel, and passenger wise we're full, 148 passengers and 3.7 tons of cargo, giving us a zero fuel weight of 54.4 tons. What have we got here? We've done departure arrivals. Let's go perf init request. Transition altitude of 6,000, so we will change that in a second. And I'm going to grab our average cruise winds on the Simbrief flight plan. Good grief, I need to change this music. It's rubbish. There we go. FinRes. Alternate 1,766 kilos to Charles de Gaulle, and FinRes of 976. So we add those together and we get 2.742, so we'll call it 2.8. That's our reserve fuel load. And our cost index, apparently, according to this, on Simbrief is giving us 61. Wow. Transition of 6,000. And the cruise wind. Average winds 292 at 21. Flight level 400, 40,000 feet for our cruise today as well. It's given us a max pressure altitude of flight level 393. We'll see what it can do there. M1 limits. A calculator for today is, in fact, we probably need to refresh the ACARS. We just reload this from Simbrief. Zero fuel weight 55.2. Okay, it is what we expected, that's fine. Estimated landing, estimated takeoff weights. What have we got here? 65.5, 65,494 kilos, that's correct. Flaps 5, bleeds on, optimum thrust and optimum assumed temperature. QNH now 1017, and it's telling us takeoff 1. Oops, wrong one, that's that one. 22k, takeoff 1, 89.7% M1, although it's giving us 94.5 there. And in the takeoff page, flaps 5. Trim wheels 7.64, so we've got quite a high trim. Right at the top end of the scale almost. So we're going to wind the wheel all the way to that. Six. 7. Call it 7.04. We'll set the transponder wheel down here. For 2,000. Christopher, well, you can use things like toolbar pushback to spawn the in-sim ones as well. Like we've got the in-sim tug at the moment, so you can choose which one you want. Yeah, we'll see about step climbs as we get a bit further into the routing today. Okay, so now it's telling us basically that it's calculating our V-speeds like so. But our runway wind, we want to add that in, and it was giving us variable at 4 knots. a little earlier on, but now winds 280 at 4. P Dragon, welcome on board. Thanks for joining us as a bronze frequent flyer. 280 at 4 knots. If you do join us as a channel member today, folks, or if you have already done so in the past and you're in our Discord server, make sure you link your YouTube account to your Discord integrations, and what that will do is get you access to the club lounge.
Osprey 5563, radio check.
Readability 5.
Thank you, have you 52?
Done. 131. So this is the fastest takeoff we've had as well, actually. Very exciting. So that's the perf page complete. We've done the M1 limits and we've done takeoff page as well. We can see the M1 of 131 there. What's that V2? 141. We'll go 151 V2 plus 10. And you can see the course is already set to 354 degrees because of our departure routing today. So we're doing the MABAP 4 Delta departure from runway 28 here at Marrakech. So initially flying runway heading of 279. Let's set that in the MCP. Like so. We get to about 2.5 miles, max 230 knots. We're going to turn right on a heading of 015 degrees. And we're going to head towards 15 DME from the Marrakech VOR 113.3, which we've got tuned into the nav1 box at the moment. From there, we're going to turn north towards MABAP, and we're going to intercept a radial of 354 degrees, which is what we've got tuned inside the aircraft today on that nav1 course, like so. So there's the frequency, 113.3, and the other one that was on the charts, even though we're not really going to use it today, 115.4, I've popped into nav2 just for the sake of it, I guess. Want to bring that down 1. An initial climb, we're going to just stick it, leave it on 10,000. Where's Doc's comment there? Try add the runway slope and heading. Well, the heading is already in, 279. But if you can work out the runway slope, I'll add it in. See if I can work it out. Let's head through the checklist. Where do we get? So APU's on, isn't it? We can make sure we go onto APU power. So we'll come off the ground power now. Let's go to menu. Ground services, ground power release. Yuan, no, we definitely haven't taken off yet. I think you'd know if we were in the air.
Menara traffic, Osprey 5563, push start, stand 9, facing east.
Long push. It. There we go. Let's set that up. Okay, so we've set FMC. We're not really obtaining any clearance. Transponder's been set. Fueling, loading, boarding complete, and takeoff data is set. Cruise altitude pressurization panel. Let's hide the toolbar pushback. Cruise of 40,000 feet initially. We're going to set 40,000. See what we can achieve. And the landing elevation in Brussels, even though it's quite a way away. Airport elevation of 175. So we'll set 150 for now. We'll make sure that's on auto. What's next? MCP's been set, and we've briefed the departure for today. 2 flight directors, 1 and 2 go on. Radios, frequency set. We're on Unicom 1228, and we'll make sure that all the ground equipment is removed. Let's arm the pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
And remove the chocks.
Stand by.
So now everything is removed. All we've got to do is set up. Chocolate, you can put the hood in. Yes, it will have ACARS in the future. About 400. Let's see, cruise. Do route data, we can load some winds as well. Ian, it is certainly getting closer. Recon, can you open the window? Don't think you can, no.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Cruise wind upload ready. And it's loading all of the wind data throughout the entire flight today.
Okay, cleared for push start. Please release parking brake.
Are we clear for push?
Please release parking brake.
Should be okay. Menara traffic, Beauty 8 Hotel, Charlie stand 6. Push start face east.
Parking brake.
Parking brakes are released.
Short taxi, so we're going to go anti-collision lights on, and whilst we're starting the aircraft
It will
engines,
start in the sequence.
we're going to start the safety demonstration from TUI. Fuel pumps on, packs off.
Menara traffic, right through.
Isolation valve, sorry, open. Ignition mode set, both and ground.
Look and listen as we talk you through the magic of flying. Please keep your seatbelt fastened whenever the seatbelt sign is illuminated. Putting your seatbelt on is easy. Simply clip it together, then adjust it by pulling on the strap.
We can try to listen to the startup sounds from the
Take it
cabin.
off, just lift the flap. It's not very likely, but if there's an emergency, get into the brace position. Your cabin crew are now pointing out the emergency exit. Have a look and count the rows to your nearest exit, because you never know, it might be behind you.
God, it'd help if we had APU bleed on, wouldn't it?
Help finding your way, follow the low-level light.
You know what, I was looking and thinking, what have we missed?
If an oxygen mask drops down, pull down firmly towards you, place it over your nose and mouth, and breathe normally. And remember to put yours on first before giving anyone else a hand.
Get the, make sure we get the N2 started, there we go. I mean, the airbursts, of course, you can just hit it and it will run and it will start. This, you need to have a little bit more manual input, so we can't spend too long looking around the cabin and things.
Or inside your leg rest. Put it on over your head, pass the straps around your waist, and tie it in a double bow. The life jacket will inflate when you pull sharply on the red toggle.
B squad, a little too far for me.
Life jackets and oxygen masks. Check your safety card, and if you need more air, blow into the tube.
Okay, pushback completed.
Be sure
Please
to wait
enter
until
parking
you're
brake.
outside the aeroplane
Parking
before
brake set.
inflating your life jacket.
Menara traffic, Osprey 5563, taxi the hold, runway 285, Papa 3, Papa 2, Charlie 1.
You may
Menara.
disconnect.
Okay, sir. Cleared to disconnect. Pin has been removed. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Cruising altitude 1,
Position waiting for the visual.
flight level
Thank you.
400. We might do 380 initially.
Bigger electronic items like laptops need to be switched off and stowed securely in your hand luggage and placed either under the seat in front of you or in the overhead compartment. Sometimes things in the overhead compartment can move around during the flight, so be sure to
Look how good this livery looks. So nice. And there's a WestJet one that I've been sent to, which I'm looking forward to showing you guys.
remember to leave all of your hand luggage behind.
Okay, so continuing the checks.
So make sure your seatbelt is fastened, your seat is upright, your window blind is ARVOL clear, and your tray
Gen
table
2.
is stowed away. For more information about this flight's emergency
Gen 1.
procedures, have a look
Auto
at
for
the
both
safety card. And
repeats. Go to the on position. 1 and 2 at the very top of the overhead here. Wing anti-engine ice as required. It's not required at the moment. And engine bleeds. Both to the on positions. Packs set auto.
Discover your smile.
Isolation valve set automatic. And recirc fan set auto. APU bleeds can now go off. And the APU can be switched off. We're going to go flaps 5, which up, by the way, the sounds are great. Elevator trim as required, so we've already set that, and we're going to do flight controls full and free, so full left and right, and we're going to go all the way to the rear and forwards in the elevators, and we're going to make sure we've done our rudder checks too. Make sure the parking brake's back on for a second, then we're going to go LNAV, auto throttle, VNAV, West taxi. Taxi lights on. Auto brake RTO. Shows disarmed, that's now extinguished. Menara traffic, UT8 Hotel Charlie, taxi to hold point Charlie 1, runway 28 via Papa and Charlie, Menara traffic. Bill, hello buddy. Thanks for joining us, hope you're okay. So some other checks then. I'm going to get rid of that bottom display, we don't need that. And a quick glance again at the overhead panel just to make sure I've not missed anything. We're going to go that onto Gen 1. That's all on, that's on auto, they're all as required. That's all looking good. We're going to put that on. Okie dokie. Eric, it's the PMDG 737. It's coming soon to Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Runway 28 for the MABAP for Delta departure to the north, Menara.
Look how good that scenery looks as well. Look how nice that is. PerfectSoft Studios Menara. And we're going to go Charlie 1, which is just coming up. Yeah, imagine this with the split scimitar. Oh. This one hasn't got it, has it? This is the blended winglet option. So, fuel reset rates. These speeds have been checked, 131, 141 for V2, and plus 10, 151. And our MCP nav data and radios are set, quite happy with what they are set as at the moment. We're going to hold position here for Philip to depart. Base taste, you know what, that's a question I don't know the answer to, but it will be available regardless on release. Yes, we do actually need to put the centre fuel pumps on, thank you for mentioning that. Well reminded. Because we've got lots of fuel on board in the centre tanks as well. There goes Philip. Menara traffic VDGS Hotel Charlie lining up runway 28. Quick look towards the approach. Good. So, position lights to strobe and steady. Let's turn the taxi lights on, runway turn off lights to the on position, and we're also just going to turn the landing lights on now anyway. TFC goes on, and transponder goes to TARA. We're going to use as much of the runway as we can. Another minute to go for separation with Philip. Probably going to be quicker than us anyway. So when it goes to 25 on the clock, we will head off and get the show on the road. Steve, there we go, buddy. Steve is the creator of this fantastic livery, by the way. And all the screenshots, of course, will go on to Volanta, and a few of them will end up on Twitter and things too. Oh, look at that. Okay, I think it's time to depart. So let's move this camera around. So about there. In we go. Menara traffic Beauty 8 Hotel Charlie, taking off runway 28, about 4 Delta departure, Menara traffic. It's about 40% N1. Start the clock.
Menara traffic, Osprey 490 will be lining up runway 28
And
behind the departing traffic.
throttles forward and hit toga.
Airspeed's alive. 80 knots.
So there goes the pressure off the nose wheel. V1. Rotate.
V2. Positive rate of climb.
Oh, look at that. And I'm going to have to go back in the flight deck just to make sure we don't pitch up too much. There we go, we've got it. And we're going to go LNAV, VNAV for both arms, CMD, A, engage. Let's go landing gear to the off position. VNAV's doing the magic now. Auto brake can go off, and we're going to slowly begin to retract some flaps. We'll go flaps 2. Flaps 1. My turn lights off. Cabin will be pressurising in a wee sec. And we're going to go flaps up. Okay, let's have a quick look again.
Menara traffic, Osprey 490 will be departing runway 28 on the
Cabin's pressurising, beginning to pressurise, which is always nice to see. What else have we got here? Seatbelt signs as required. We'll leave them on the auto position as we now begin a right turn. Jensen, hello. Very good, thank you. Oh, look at that. It's so good to have this livery in the sim on the 737, isn't it? Look how fantastic that looks. Great job, Steve. Ashley went max volume. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Okay, let's go through standard pressure and standby instrument. We'll make sure that's on standard. We're going to continue our climb up. We'll do 38,000 initially, just see what happens. We'll aim for 40,000 further in. We can get up that high. Let's do 36. Steve, this is my favourite so far and the hardest to paint. I can quite imagine it was quite difficult to paint, but it is lovely. Exterior textures are definitely not blurry. I'd check your own YouTube settings there for the stream, Adrian. That is definitely not blurry. Look at that, even the lines are really crisp. Beautiful work. We're about to bust through 10,000 in a second as well. Ah, Steve, brilliant. Tapsy, one of our fleet painters as well, folks. For those of you who watch regularly and know we have our own Osprey Airways liveries for a lot of aircraft. Tapsy is going to be waiting for release for this, and it will be painting the Osprey Airways livery for it too, which is pretty awesome. Oh, the Alaska Portland Timbers was difficult. Wow. Okay, yeah, that definitely want to go and see. Ace Taste loving the TUI. Make sure we've set our other bits here. Heading, which is going to be sneaky. We're going to set 354 as well, because we're going to be doing that in a second, and I'll whack that to 10. Climb up. Chris, just the profile that we're using at the moment for climbing out. There you go. You see there, it's just once it's got beyond 15 DME, we're now en route to MABAP. It's then allowing us to accelerate. It's not a bug. This particular segment was max 230 knots for the turn on this segment of the charts. So it's kind of just following all that nav data. Let's see if it's in here. Oh, it's already gone now because we're going to the next one. But yeah, you can see there we're going to 311 knots roughly. Oh, Doc, absolutely. Shirts, hello. There will be some 146 love coming soon, but we were looking at previewing it, but then they Just Flight decided suddenly to release it, so it came about quite suddenly, basically. Long and short of it is I'd already planned these streams when Just Flight decided to drop the 146 to everybody, or release it to everybody, so that's why we're all having to kind of wait for the 146 streams from myself. We have done a couple of previews which we enjoyed though. Oh, by the way, look at this. Go dash cam view. Look at that blue on the nose. Oh, yo it. That sounds like you've had another crash to desktop, am I right? There's that other VOR that we were tracking just as a backup. Nicholas, hello, really good so far, thank you. Loving it. What other wing views have we got? Let's go to this side. We have actually got, I think, some cabin views or something. Oh, perhaps not. Oh, there we go, we do have a cabin view. Did wonder which button I'd set it as. GD. Still nothing yet about cost. We're hoping it will come soon. If you've not already done so, please do click the like button throughout today as well. Steve Jar, painters will not have a hard time converting their paints to MSFS. That's really good to hear, actually. You'll have to wait for the 800 though on this paint. I feel like I need to go into Discord or something now. Captain Thomas asking, do you think the 737 will be ready till the weekend, or on the weekend? So that's what they're aiming for, that's what they're hoping for. So yeah, I guess we can only keep our fingers crossed, can't we? They will release it when they decide that it's ready for release. In the forum the other day, RSR did say that they are hoping that it will be ready for this weekend. RP the Gamer, it will be payware. PMDG products are payware. Well worth it though. Immensely detailed simulations. Spitfire RAF, hello buddy. Welcome. Andrew C. Got you addicted to flying around New Zealand. Great stuff. And James, love the streams. Have been excellent, thank you. Not always caught them live, but watch them later. That's really nice to hear. Thank you very much. Is it a gross plane for a beginner like the A32NX? How do you mean, Mag? I mean, is it difficult to learn compared to the A32NX? JBait, I do feel like it's going to be a lot cheaper. Yeah, Christopher, I haven't changed the settings, bizarrely. But yeah, I see what you mean. There's some weird stuff today with the sim. Microsoft Flight Simulator doing Microsoft Flight Simulator things. Ghost, so when the 700 releases, the forecast then is a 6-week turnaround for the 600 variant, which will come after. And then on top of that, once the 600 has been released, it will then, basically the next thing that will follow on from that will be the 800. So the 800 is around about just over 3 months away, effectively. Jay, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining us as a Silver Frequent Flyer. Brilliant. Thanks for all your support, joining as a member. Really appreciate it. Franco's asking, will there be some MD80 streams? I know there's a lot of others in the priority list. Yeah, so we need to do a Just Flight video first, or stream first, checking out the 300. We're going to be flying most likely Friday. We're going to be heading from London City Airport, and we're going to be going off to Simwings Ibiza, which is going to be quite cool. BA City Flyer flight. Killer, yeah, absolutely. I've got a 2070 Super graphics card, and I get better performance out of this than I do in the A32NX. Flash Gaming, hello. Phoenix, yeah, you absolutely can join the Discord. There's a members only area inside of it, for bronze, silver, gold frequent flyers, but there is a section for everybody else as well. Colin, welcome. Scott, hello. I'm thinking TACE is around about correct roughly, but that is just hypothetical. We haven't got any price release information or anything from the PMDG team yet. GD, I'm assuming you've got Microsoft Flight Simulator and you've also got the Salty Simulations experimental branch, right? By the way, if you didn't see yesterday's live stream, go back and check it after today. We did an engine failure with, well, we did an engine overheat failure, which then progressed into an engine fire, resulting in the shutdown of engine 2 and a single engine approach. To have an RS, I can't see it being that much, to be honest. I think it's going to be around DC6 price. Not sure, I'm not sure. It's really hard to call. All we can do is wait, I guess, for PMDG to give us the price information. Magnamia, so you can get started on it really easily by having a little look at all of the tutorials that I've created. And basically the idea of those tutorials is it gives you enough information to get started from 0 hours up to the ability to just sort of complete a full flight, whether it be an ILS approach or an RNAV approach or something like that. So do check it out. Hopefully the tutorials help, especially if you are starting fresh like I did. 0 hours, never flown a 737 in the sim ever before. And they're all available on the website or in our YouTube channel as well. The playlist section, you'll see a PMDG 737 section, where you can go to britishavgeek.com/PMDG-737, and that's where you'll also find the PDF checklist that I've created, which you can all download for free. Sean Matapea, I'd love a 777, that'd be great. Neil, absolutely, which is what I think it's going to be around that price mark. The DC6 smashed all their records. Well, look at that, we're catching somebody up. That, I assume, is going to be Philip, right? Let's dive onto Volanta for a second. Here we go. It's telling us we've got 18 screenshots, which is not correct. But I can't believe I've taken so many already. 10, wow. Okay. There's our routing anyway for today. We've still got a few that are... Wow, still got a few taking off. Peter in a Concorde, brilliant. He's off to Heathrow. Anyway, who's that? David, Osprey 490. There's us, and we're chasing Philip. further up ahead. So we're going to go overhead Casablanca, over the sort of bit here, the Atlantic Ocean, up to Jerez. We're going to be west of Gibraltar, over Seville in Spain, and through central Spain, overhead Madrid. Bilbao should be, there we go, Bilbao's there. And then into French airspace, passing over Bordeaux, La Rochelle, over Paris, I think, or just to the west of Paris as we sort of transit around that. And then we're heading off in towards Brussels. And we've got the VDGS fired up for today as well, which is basically going to mean that when we do arrive into Aerosoft's Brussels later on, we're going to be able to let's reset this heading bug. We're going to be able to park with the VDGS with that on arrival, which is going to be great. Spitfire AF, thanks for the tutorials. British Geek will be checking out those when the 737 is released. You're most welcome. Killer Bee Sting, can we link yesterday's stream in the chat? Tavanoris, no, this is very accurate modelling. In fact, even things like the windscreen wipers, they've got the exact spec, the sizing and everything from Boeing, and they've then built it to match that in the aircraft. Ghost, the DC-6 is about £50. Go park in the TUI hangar. We might have to tow it into the hangar actually after today's flight. Depends if it breaks. Hopefully not, touch wood. There we go, look at that, beautiful. There's definitely some strange LOD thing going on in my sim today. Yeah, well hopefully, we'll do 380 first, then we'll see if we can step to 400. I guess nearer towards Spanish airspace. I think we'll probably try and achieve it then. Our routing today gave us about 3 hours 5 minutes airtime. Hopefully the Fly Live Studio thing at the top of your screens as you guys watch basically keeps working throughout. It does break on occasion, but it's looking okay at the moment. That's our altitude C chord for 360. Let's go to 38 actually. Daniel, nice. Landed the DC-6 on 3 engines and fog in San Diego. Remarkable work. Recon, there is a cabin, yes. In fact, oh look at that. There's a screenshot again. Basically, you can go inside. Stephen, welcome. Yep, we're on VATSIM. You can go inside the aeroplane and it will show you the cabin here. So let's jump in through your window. Look how nice that livery is. Look how crisp it is. Anyway, let's jump in and we're in the flight deck. There we go. There's the cabin. It's available in drone cam at the moment because I've set some custom views using well, the sort of method that I use to set custom views all the time. Oh, Neil, that sounds rather nice. Osprey Executive. Daniel, loving it. J-Bay wants the 777 as well because there's a regular Emirates flight that flies in and out of Durban, so it's perfect for doing real type flights over Africa. Very nice. Sam Keeping's asking about performance compared to the fly-by-wire. It's a question that I get asked a lot, actually. A lot, and this for me is the best performing aeroplane that I've got in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Andrew, what would be your recommendations around good VATSIM resources and tutorials? Head to my website, britishavgeek.com/VATSIM, and you'll see a whole host of stuff. Frames per second. Let's have a look. Right, it's going between 30 to 35 at the moment. I've got my sim capped at 35, but we are running landing rate monitor, streaming software, vPilot, the Luke Air tool, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Bass Airplane Toolbox, which is my performance calculator, Navigraph, Fly Live Studio, Volanta, and Spotify. There's the name of today's aeroplane. Ocean. That's an awesome little screenshot there as well. Let's grab that. Robert, good morning to you. Indiana over in the States. Great to have you tuning in with us today. Hello to you. And TMTCT, welcome. 737 suits that livery nicely, Jay says. Absolutely does, doesn't it? It looks very nice. Yeah, it's an MSFS limitation, Killer Bee Sting. So, effectively, Asobo need to recode the way that rain interacts with windscreens and windshields and things like that. It's the same for a lot of other aircraft too. Actually, I know I'm pushing my system to the max, aren't I? Okay, let's see if we can reset MCP altitude. Let's see if we can achieve flight level 400. By Tolsea. Big refresh of the VNAV mode. Blown up, absolutely. This is the smoothest aircraft that I've got in the sim at the moment. Mach decimal 80 almost, Doc. Contra Quest, welcome on board. Ghost, much better. As I said a minute ago, this is the best performing aircraft I've got, so it's even smoother than the blah-blah-blah A321X, which I was really surprised about, to be honest, when I first experienced the difference. Very impressed by performance with it. And it looks fantastic too. Look at those reflections. See if we can go down here like this. Oh, wonderful. Chris, that's another way to do it. As Chris has said there, you can just press that button. So you can reset your MCP altitude and just hit that button there, and it will kick in the additional climb. 30, about 30 miles in front for Philip, or 25, 30 miles. Yeah, blown up, exactly. Really, really surprising. Yeah, the simulation is so deep. As you guys may have seen from our flight yesterday when the engine did fail. Steve, it is, isn't it? Very good work. Thank you for sending it to me. Appreciate it. It's really nice. Yoap, so 737NG driver has got a different build. I don't have one as up to date as he does, effectively. So some of the sounds and things like the trim, I don't have that yet, sadly. Base Taste, yeah, I did. I don't know if I could do a 20-hour flight on an aeroplane. I think maybe the stopover would be quite nice. Does anyone recommend Dave's 3D models add-on Lolo? So that's useful if you've got a scenery that requires it as a dependency. So if the freeware scenery has got things like animated people, animated passengers, that sort of thing around the terminal, that's when that comes about. Daniel's going to be flying TUI solely in the 737. Well, we've got the paint for it. Oh, Ghost, good question. I think they said it was the 777, I think. There we go, Sean said the same as well. Oh. Very nice. Great company to work for. They look after the staff very well. I enjoyed my year at Thompson Airways. And there's our cruise, 40,000 feet. Steve Dry, yeah, there we go. So we get a fixed build that we get sent to us, and it doesn't really get updated that much. It's just, I think, this is the second build I've ever had. So there are things in the beta version that all the beta testers like Steve have got, which will have lots of additional sounds and tweaks and improvements that we haven't been able to see yet. Which is nice in a way, because it means that when it does release, you guys will have quite a lot of nice additional surprises. Afamowski, you only need to ask once. We can see the chat, buddy. They have said on the forums, the best place to find out all that sort of information, folks, is on the PMDG official forums, because it comes straight from Robert Randazzo, and it's not misconstrued or anything like that. So by the time you've sort of seen it, 2 or 3 YouTube videos later or whatever else, it gets reworded a little bit and it can get taken out of context. So the best place to find all the latest information for this aeroplane is on the official PMDG forums in the general news and announcements section, and you'll see the announcements from Robert Randazzo and the rest of the PMDG team, and the screenshots from beta testers and all that sort of stuff too. They did say on the forum the other day that their intention is to try and get it released on the weekend coming, but that's no guarantee. It's just a hope. That's what they're trying to achieve. Yeah, I've done 12, 13 hours to Tokyo. I quite enjoyed that, actually. That was just about the right length of time. Ghost, absolutely no idea. Again, the forum's the best place to monitor for that sort of thing. Who knows? Maybe they can make it work. It might be sort of this time next year, perhaps. So, Nicholas is asking, why do you fly at 40,000 feet when you're only able to fly with 240 knots indicated airspeed instead of 290 knots indicated, for example? So that's a really good question. That's just the indicated airspeed at the moment. What we're doing is flying at 40,000 feet at Mach decimal 8079 almost, which is the fastest almost that we can fly. We're right at the top of this barber pole almost for overspeed. But being at this altitude, at this Mach number, and with a ground speed of 458, means that we're actually covering more ground quicker. Lolo's enjoying the 146. Yeah, very nice aeroplane, isn't it? They've done some great work at Just Flight. Getting that available for MSFS. Really enjoyable to fly. Very unique as well. You've got a lot of character to it. Yeah, it goes into like air density and resistance of it. As Lolo's saying there, the denser the air, the more drag. Daniel, do you mean the your controls folks, or I mean there's a couple? I think there's a couple, aren't there, of a few different shared cockpit mods. I don't tend to use them. I've had a couple of bad experiences so far. Loving the 146, really busy after takeoff. David says, yeah, it is, isn't it? There's a lot to do. Trimpy lad, why haven't you done a 146 stream yet? So we did some previews earlier in the month of April, previewing it before the FMS went into it. We were waiting on a preview build to show off to you guys pre-release, but they then made the swift, very last minute sort of quick decision to get it released on Friday just gone. And by that point I'd already planned basically the streams for the weekend involving the PMDG 737, so that's why we haven't done any 146 streams post-release yet, but we're intending to do one on Friday. London City to Ibiza. Be quite cool. Ian, wow, Perth, Australia to LAX via Auckland is the longest flight Ian's been on. What's that in length? That's a long journey, isn't it? By the way, the higher we go, smaller the flight envelope as well. Yeah. Leonardo, hello. Don't you think that MSFS is lacking a bit of physics like shaking and vibrations on rollouts and stuff like that? Not really. I mean, it depends on the aircraft that you're using and what the developers can do to it. PMDG have come out and said themselves that MSFS, the platform as it is at the moment, is exceptionally good for a simulator and is certainly leading the way in a lot of stuff. So I take a lot of trust in that, and I also quite enjoy the sim as well myself. Things like sort of shakiness or the bumpiness on touchdown, I think that's just because the sim doesn't have kind of the way it looks with the drone cameras and stuff. How can I explain this? Our viewpoint, I suppose, the sim treats it as if it's a camera view. Probably the best way I can describe it. I'd imagine a mod of some sort will come about one day which gives it a bit of shakes, but as J-Bay's saying there, some of the aircraft like the DC-6 shake like mad. Certain power settings, the panel vibrates and everything else too. Blown up, I shouldn't I? Let's hope. Yes, Groningen. That aircraft is still stuck there. We conveyed asking what's the weather like at our arrival, our destination airport today, which is Brussels. So let's go METAR, Brussels. 050 degrees at 6 knots, so it's a bit of a crosswind, variable between 280 and 80 degrees, ceiling of visibility okay, 17 degrees Celsius for the temperature, dew point 0 degrees, So nice, unsaturated, stable air by the looks of it. UNH 1019. Sounds like a nice day. Yeah, you could get things like butt kicker, which I think is like a seat thing, isn't it? I don't really know much about it, but I think it does kick your butt a little bit in the seat. Gives you that realistic touchdown feeling, which is quite cool. Ian, yeah, VATSIM, I mean, they kind of lead the way anyway at the best of times with all this sort of thing. Sean, wow, June, Sean's going Boston, LAX to Sydney, 30 hours including layovers. Whoa, that's mega. What a journey. We have to keep an eye on our centre tanks. They're going to be dry shortly, at which point we're going to have to switch them off, and then we'll just be on the 4.5 left right tanks instead of centre. We kind of have to manage the fuel a little bit there. When it does run dry, the low pressure warning lights will come on, sorry. They'll illuminate. We need to then turn those off. Centre tanks. Daniel, I bet that's awesome. I don't really know enough about butt kicker, but I've heard great things. I don't know if it would fit to my seat though. I've got a GT Omega sort of seat. .55 knot crosswind for us today as well. Don't know where Philip went. We did have his contrails somewhere. Okay, so he's still ahead. Can't see him though. Oh, there he is. Just ahead. Just see his contrails. Yeah, Leonardo, see it. That's the best way of sort of explaining it, I guess. This sort of camera view in MSFS, as we're looking at it now, it's like a camera view, which explains as well why when you go from a really bright sort of view into the flight deck, it's really dark, and then there's this little bit of a focal adjustment almost. Munson, I don't know anything about it, to be honest. I assume it's a bit of a career mode sort of thing, but I've not actually looked into anything about it. In my next flight, providing that Japan open the borders for tourists, our next flight is going to be in September. Looking forward to revisiting Japan. Been many years since I last was visiting there, and a beautiful place, fantastic people, great culture. I'm hoping that goes ahead. J-Bay, the longest flight did was Cape Town to Mauritius. Beautiful country, Mauritius. Absolutely love it. 2,350 nautical miles in the Flyby A320, 5.5 hours, wow. Septi, hello to you. Can I ask how the releases will work for the PMDG 737 variants? So initially, the 737-700 will release, which is the one that we're previewing at the moment and enjoying a lot. And then PMDG have said, effectively after that period, got 6 weeks or so until they then release the second version, which will be the 600 variant. The 700 variant will come with this one, the passenger version. It will also then come with the cargo variant and the BBJ. The 600 apparently will come without winglets as an option, which is quite cool. That's 6 weeks after the 700 releases. And then 6 weeks after the 600 releases, the 737-800 will release. So you guys are waiting for the 800 variant, for example. The day that this releases, you're going to be looking 3 months at least for that. Personally, I think it'd be great to have both of those. Swampston, Newcastle, Dubai, Adelaide. Wow, that's mega. What a journey. Oh, Daniel, you built your own. That's awesome. Yeah, and there's a lot of people saying, why are PMDG releasing the 600 after the 700? And I wasn't really sure of the answer myself, to be totally honest. But when I go onto YouTube, when you go onto Wikipedia and you punch in 737NG and you read the wiki article, it will tell you that the very first version, the very first variant that was released, was in fact the 700, and then after that the 600 was released, and then the 800. So they've not confirmed it, but I feel like PMDG are following the realistic release schedule of the real Boeing 737NG series, which is quite cool. That is the coast of Spain, I believe. Have a quick peek at Volanta just to see if it is. Yes, it is. So we are passing Tangier on the right hand side. Let's have a little look, see if we can spot Tangier. There it is. That's Tangier. And over in the distance, over there somewhere, in fact, there it is, Gibraltar. Barrick, it's not available yet. It will be on the PMDG website when it does release though, so have a little look at the PMDG website. There is a placeholder on the product page for it already, just for when it does release eventually. But again, the best place to follow all the progress is on the official PMDG forums. Andrew, yeah, they're all quite remarkably different, even though they're all of the NG series. They're all a little different, aren't they? Personally, not sure too much about the 600, but I'd love an 800, and I'd also love the 900 ER. That'd be quite cool, super big. And then eventually, in the long, far-away distance, PMDG will be looking at doing the MAX as well, the MAX jets. Love it. Very cool. Daniel, Morocco's fantastic for low-level VFR, especially around the mountains. Very nice. In MSFS or in real life? Watching that centre tank there drain away. 0.52 kilos of fuel on that one now. We've got enough as well for a diversion to Charles de Gaulle, should that happen. But we certainly don't need it. Someone was mentioning about the toga stuff earlier on. So when we did take off, we hit the screw here, which is a click spot for toga. Really nice little click spot. Straight in the viewpoint for us. However, you can enable it by clicking the toga button. Well, if you want. Down by the throttles. A little fiddly. But it depends on your personal preference. Or in fact, if you've got a keybind set to your own throttle units, your hardware, then you can set a toga keybind, and you can just click that too. That could be another way around it. I might experiment with that actually, so I can just click it on my throttle bar on my Velocity 1 Turtle Beach kit. Except he loves the Aerosoft Brussels airports. It's really good, isn't it? Like you said, it doesn't really kill frames either, which is quite incredible. Matthew, I don't think I'm ready for that. Engine overheat fire yesterday. How about a dual engine failure, dead stick landing today? I don't think Vatsim would appreciate me for that. We're going to do a nice, casual, but fairly relaxed, he says, ILS approach today into Brussels. And we're going to use the... let's see, let's get a screenshot there over the coast. Look at that. We're going to make use of the VDGS as well on arrival. So at the moment it is loaded up. We go Shift V and we open the box. Hopefully you guys can see that on your screen. No, you can't. Interesting. If I do that, you can. It's showing no items to display, no airports in range currently, which is fine. All we're going to do, effectively when we get closer, is enable that, reload it, and we'll have a little look. What is my aeroplane doing? Getting a little unsettled, isn't it, at this speed? This speed, this altitude, with this crosswind of 50 knots. It's not wanting to settle. As we'll go on to heading mode for a minute, we'll just see what it does. It could just be the weather. Looks like it is. This is going to make the passengers quite nauseous, isn't it? We could slow down a little bit perhaps, and that might help. 0.87, 3.88, so there's no fuel imbalance to think about or worry about. British Flight Sim is asking how much will it cost. We don't know yet, sadly. We'll wait for PMDG to announce it officially on their forums. And there we go, look at that. It's settled itself down now. Must have just been weather. Chasing the flight path or something. Epimental, you're most welcome. Thanks for all these previews. No worries at all. Does the aircraft have a setting for random failures based on hours of operation? I kind of like being surprised. Yes, it does. We explored that yesterday. And we've set service-based failures on now. So if we don't maintain the aircraft, we call the maintenance truck and get things fixed and looked after every now and again. Effectively, something might fail. We don't know when, we don't know what, and we don't know how severe. But if we don't look after the aircraft, we'll get a failure. You can turn the setting off, it's off by default, so if you do want it, you'll have to turn it on. Or, like we did yesterday, you can arm a failure and set a time, and at some point around that time, when the clock hits 0, it will go, it will fail. As we explored yesterday with an engine overheat warning, which progressed into a fire and an in-flight shutdown. George is just drunk again, absolutely. That. As always, we'll have to pick a couple of our screenshots today. They'll all go onto Discord, but we'll have to pick 4 and put them onto our social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, that sort of thing. What happened to Otto? Yes. That light reflecting off the fuselage there. We see a video of a 737 passing close to a helium balloon. No, we didn't. That sounds rather dramatic. Who buggered up? That's the question. Ultimately, the 737 should give way to balloons, but I guess it depends on the circumstances of what was happening, really. Steve, you mentioned earlier, I might have missed it during takeoff, someone was asking if this was going to be available in the operations centre on release. I can't remember if you'd answered it or not, but if you're still around, how will be basically, on release for this aeroplane, how will people be able to download it? Today, absolutely, isn't it? Septi, 3 to 4 weeks is a huge, that's a huge bit of workload for the PMDG team. So by stretching it out to about 6 weeks, it allows each variant to be released, and kind of it goes through a bedding in process, I suppose. So people will go out, they're flying the 700 variant for a little while, getting used to it, getting used to the systems, and it also gives them opportunity to have a little bit of a support process for each release too. So if anything needs updating, they can update it, and at the 6 week point they'll then have enough time for the previous version to sort of build in. Rocco, we don't know anything about price yet, and there's no confirmed release date either. PMDG have just said that they are hoping to get it ready for release this weekend. So potentially, at a minimum, there's only 4 days left to wait, folks. At a minimum. And then you can get your hands on the most complex, most highly detailed, most immersive aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And I started at 0 hours flying this, and I can safely say that it very quickly became my favourite. And I've always thought I was a bit of an Airbus guy, but I'm loving the sort of immersion and the more manual control required on this aeroplane. It's great fun. Ooh, I can't see any link, Christopher. NYC pilot, are your frames better than the 737 or the Flyby A320? So, for me, this is the smoothest simulation, or this is the smoothest aircraft I've got in MSFS at the moment. So, the performance for me is better than the A320X, which is really cool. Is she a lot to learn though, Shrimpy's asking, or is it possible to fly it and have some fun with it even with limited knowledge? So you can, as long as you cover the basics and you understand what the systems do and how the aircraft works, then yeah, you can get from A to B, certainly, you know, just about maybe. I don't know, it's hard to tell. The Airbus is very much put everything into the MCDU, takeoff, autopilot on, manage modes, and away you go. It'll do everything else for you, and it'll even land for you. So minimal input, really. This requires a little bit more tinkering from the pilots, checking the pressurization of the aircraft, and you know, everything else, like the fuel systems, for example. That's going to be empty soon. We're going to have to make sure we then turn those pumps off. Christopher, no worries, thank you, buddy. I'll fish it out and I'll put it in the live chat as well, see if it appears if I do it. So this is the link to the balloon almost hitting the 737. Yardi, hello, yeah, really good, thank you. If you guys want the tutorial series that I've created, plus the checklist that I've made, which you can download for free, I'll put the link in the live chat. In fact, I'll pin it. How about that? I'll pin the message. There you go. How about that? Replace the pin message. We're into the route now. You guys know where we're going. So do check out the website. Eventually, we will have some 737-700 liveries for the channel's Osprey Airways as well. And Osprey World Cargo. Blown Up, will we do a full review when it releases? It probably won't be required, to be honest. I've done a lot of previews with it, and I'm immensely impressed with what they've done. Got that drunk autopilot again. It's recommending auto brake 2 into Brussels, flap 30, auto brake 2. Although it does say it here, auto brake 3 is green. It will give us 1,456 metres left. But auto brake 2 will give us 1,076 metres remaining, so we could just use auto brake 2 perhaps. Landing altitude needs to be set to 200, it says, on our performance calculator. It's the VAS airplane toolbox. Blown up? No, it's more the weather, I think. We've been flying it quite a lot recently, and this is the first time we're getting it. But we're noticing we've got quite a bit of crosswind, but it does change ever so slightly over time. It's also the highest we've ever flown. We're at flight level 400. So it could just be that. There's all a bit of a mixture. Yardy's asking, quick question for you, if you don't mind. I'm thinking about getting Volanta Premium. Is it worth it? Look at that, good grief. Dutch rolls. Have a look, it's stabilised itself again now. Is it worth it? I think so. You can put screenshots and everything in. You get a little bit of extra features. I don't know if the scheduling feature on Volanta is in the freeware version or not. But you can state save, certainly, with Volanta Premium. So if you do get an issue whereby the aeroplane, or the sim, you get a crashed desktop, with Volanta state saving, you in theory can reload where you left off. Well, I've never tried it. Simon, hello to you. What do you guys think of the MD82? I've not purchased it yet. But I've heard a lot of good things about it, except the sounds. I've heard the sounds on the MD82 leave a lot to be desired, need quite a bit of work apparently. Septi, this may not be an appropriate question to ask. It seems reasonable. Are you considered a beta tester for this PMDG 737, or is it more just to showcase the aircraft prior to release? So no, I'm not a beta tester in PMDG by any means. Instead, rather, I've been given the opportunity to preview it and showcase it to you guys to show how good it all is. Rocco's got a great question. We were asked it yesterday as well. Why is the gear lever in the central position? So it means that the hydraulics powering the gear systems are isolated and turned off. Otherwise, it's continuously putting pressure to retract the gear. So we retract the gear, we make sure they're fully retracted and the bays get locked, we don't have any warning lights. And then once we're happy, we'll then move the gear into the off position to switch off the system, basically. And then when we go gear down, we just got to go one click down. It will reactivate all of the system power, and it will drop the gear and lock them in position. Finally, we get 3 green. Have a nice. Do we have a release date of the Mad Dog? It was released 2 days ago. So there's our master caution fuel, and that is because the centre tanks are almost empty. So we've now got fuel warning light for the left centre tank. Let's turn that off. That means that's empty. And the master caution has extinguished. Now any second we're going to get the same for the right tank. Yeah, the Leonardo MD82 we released on Saturday. The A320 CEO, I think it's going to be the Fenix Sim, right? Turn that off. I'm pretty convinced that's empty. Yeah, no, we've heard nothing from Fenix Sim for a little while actually. Someone was saying yesterday perhaps they're letting all of the hype and the excitement die down from the current couple of days. Of yeah, the 146 being released on Friday, the MD82 on Saturday, potentially this being released this coming weekend. It kind of overshadows Fenix Sim quite a bit, doesn't it? Because we've already got a fantastic A320 Neo in the fly-by-wire A32NX. Carabas, will this livery be available on release? I believe so. I'm just trying to find if Simon, sorry, Let's have a little look. Just scrolling up to see if Steve has responded. I did ask a few minutes ago, but he might have headed off. Having a quick scroll, let's see. How far do I go up? So I think Steve's headed off. Certainly hasn't answered the question yet. So I'm not sure, to be honest. I think it's going to be available on release. Whether or not it's going to be in the operations centre, I'm not sure. Yeah, Ian, so the sounds on the BA146 are a lot better than the ND82 or from what I've heard and seen so far. David's asking, why is the sim so oversaturated? Did they screw something up in the recent update again? Probably. It is a Sobo. It is a Sobo. We were talking about that yesterday as well, actually, during the stream. Everything seems to be very washed again, doesn't it? Quite bright. Yeah, Rocco. So feel free. The link in the live chat today that's pinned is the website that I've got, and it will take you. The link that's pinned in that message take you straight to my PMDG 737 tutorials, and they're designed to cover all of the basics to get you from A to B and get you flying either a VOR approach into something like Skiathos, or an NDB approach, sorry, or an RNAV approach or an ILS approach. And we try and keep it really simple, cut out all of the complexity, all of the regulations and stuff that people don't really need to necessarily know in the sim. Just focus on all the basics so you can do it quite confidently. So do check them out, and you can download our checklist that I've devised as well, which you can see here. It is 2 pages, and it's all of the basics that you need to worry about. And if you use this in conjunction with my tutorials, you're going to learn it no problem in no time. So we've done everything to here now. All we've got to do is get to this bit when we get towards descent. And it's estimating we're going to have 4.1 tons on board when we do arrive in Brussels. We've got 864 nautical miles to go. 15:27 Z, so 4:30 local time for those of us in the UK. We're estimated to arrive in Brussels. Christopher, I guess it's a bit more of an old school look. There's a lot of character on the aeroplane as well. So I was watching a video from a real pilot for the MD82 the other day, and you know, little quirks with it, like how some of the systems work and how some of the knobs and things for the windows from a DC3. I think that's quite unique and quite cool. Helicoptero, hello to you. Welcome on board. Astrodad says the NVIDIA filter is definitely worth trying. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Right, I feel like we should drop down to flight level 390, and I reckon it's this high altitude that's causing this little bit of wiggle. Get rid of VOR1 as well, we don't need that on. What's actually quite nice, demonstrating the flight model of this aeroplane, by the way, while it's doing this funkiness, you can see the stall speeds increasing and decreasing as we're in the bank, and it extends when we're wings level, so that flight envelope just increases slightly when we're wings level. You can see it dancing around, so the air speeds for the lower sections where we can stall change dramatically. So it shows you operating at this altitude, it can be a little precarious. Just see who's online here. We haven't got many problems with controllers. Let's go altitude intervention. We'll go to 390. So we press altitude intervention there, 380, descend 2000. We'll see what it does. Make sure our heading bug is aligned with our heading. David, have I tried stalling it? I'd love to see what happens at this altitude. I haven't, no. I'm hoping it's something the beta team have done. I'm hoping they've gone through lots of stuff. I'd like to think they've gone through flight level 400 flights as well, and the ceiling of 410. I'd like to think they've done that as well. But again, I'm not in the beta program, so it's hard to kind of see where, you know, what they've done and where they're at with that. Rocco, you're most welcome. Hopefully you find it all useful. Septi says essentially you delete GeForce experience and it helps with frames as there's way less NVIDIA process happening while you play. But see, that's really interesting. Anyone know what live weather's doing today, if live weather's broken? Bossman, hello to you in South Africa. Ilias, I'm not sure. It's either the high altitude with the crosswind, with the speed, or blend of it all. We'll try 380 for a little while. Reset that to 380. Reset MCP altitude. I mean, it's given us the optimum cruise of 380 anyway, to be honest, so we're happy with that. Ian did it today as well. You guys are going to have to share with me all the steps in Discord, and I'll experiment with it, have a little look myself, because it does sound quite interesting. Is the MCDU working well? Absolutely, yeah, really nicely. There's a lot of complexity to it, and you can delve into all of the systems of the aircraft as well. You can change your equipment displays, you can go through all the failures and things as well. All systems wise, we've got service-based failures on, and you can see here as we're flying along, the aircraft is counting down how many hours before the next service is due, and you can just hit service all as well. But certainly we can get failures at any point, and there could be something really minor to something quite serious. Mediza asking, will there be an old yellow livery from TUI? Quite possibly, but I'd imagine it would be something that will go onto flightsim.to in the end. We'll stick to optimum cruise, nearest to flight level 380. See what happens. What do we want? 160. 320 will do. What's the numbers on the left grabbing point in the yoke, Tavignara? So it's more of an old school thing really. When flight numbers were 3 digits, we can set them to, I don't know, if we were UT923 for example, we could set that as a visual reminder all the time. And this little handy checklist section here, we can just click down and we can work through like so. And with this, actually, I discovered this yesterday. Chart light. How cool is that?
What's about flight model? Does it feels actually like a plane and not twitchy like others airliners in MSFS, who flies like a ballon? Do you can feel the weight of the aircraft and it's not too sensitive?
Pilot, thanks for the tip, buddy. Great question. Well, a couple of questions. What about the flight model? Does it actually feel like an aircraft and not twitchy like other airliners in Microsoft Flight Simulator? Yeah, absolutely. The heavier you are, you can certainly feel the difference of the way the aeroplane handles. Same with the different flap settings as well. You can feel the difference. We did an engine out landing yesterday, for example, at the end of the stream, so definitely check that out after today, after you finish watching today. Go back and check our arrival into Bradley International yesterday. We had to shut down engine 2 and extinguish a fire on the engine because of a failure that activated. And it was a really interesting, very full-on, quite difficult to control single engine approach. First time I've ever done anything like that in the sim, and certainly even live as well, and on VAT sim. But you know, the way that the dynamics of the aeroplane changed when we shut down that engine was remarkable. You could feel the thrust asymmetry, and especially as well when you idled the throttle, you could feel the aircraft kind of lose the asymmetry as well, if that makes sense. But yeah, definitely doesn't fly like a balloon. And it's definitely not too sensitive either from what we've seen so far, what I've experienced so far. As Septi's saying there, they've added so many little features to this aeroplane that it's astounding. And yes, there is a tiller, and it is simulated as well. You can't click it, so you can't rotate the tiller around, but you can see it rotate and move about too. Oh, look at that metal reflection on the floor. Very nice. Bossman would have loved to have seen them do a DC-3 for MSFS. Really enjoying the DC-6. Yeah, that's a fantastic plane, isn't it? Nice to have a little old school nod. Our bank angle limit is 10 degrees, but on VNAV it will do its own thing. Window blinds for the pilots? I don't think so, no. They haven't. How are we doing progress-wise? Almost the halfway. Proper DC-3 would be awesome, Andrew's saying. Yeah, it would be quite good, wouldn't it, to them to model that in. Have a nice realistic one. Tomlinson, if you're watching, well, Tomlinson on Discord, just seen your note about Osprey call sign. Done, approved. Mediza says, I know it sounds weird, but I fly with a controller. Does this work good with the 737? That's, I mean, that's a question I can't really answer because I don't know, to be totally honest with you. Quite difficult to work that one out. I think, in general, MSFS, I think it's quite difficult anyway with a complex aircraft with a controller, so I don't know. So what we need is a sunglass mod. So you can click a button and it will drop you some shades on. Polarize, and you can choose between polarizing and non-polarizing. Septi, loving the seats, yeah, look at that. Very cool, isn't it? Fluffy. Must have taken months to just texture the seats alone. Blown up, yeah, you can set it to be independent. There is in fact a setting in here for it to be tiller axis set to sim. So you can then sort of, if you've got an extra way of controlling it, you can set it to be separate, which is quite cool. Adiza asked about control. I've already answered that one. Septi, actually do the circuit breakers work? No. And they've said that they're not going to model that in because it's not the sort of thing a pilot would do that much. And also it's a waste on performance. At no point during my personal sim experience am I going to be looking back here going, well, I wonder what these do. Let's turn that one off. Let's turn this one off. Let's pull that one. Let's pop that back in. I don't think... I mean, they're there, beautifully textured. But I think I agree with them in the sense that why does anybody need to pull a circuit breaker? I get it when you say a failure might activate and you might need to reset a CB, but actually you'd only get told you'd only do that if the manual says so, and if a maintenance engineer sort of sends a message to the aircraft to tell you to do it. Certainly in the QRH you might not have anything to do with circuit breakers. But as Gigando says, the best term to describe this, high fidelity. Study levels, not really a thing, it's not a thing. It's a term that people have employed, I guess. So in that instance, yeah. But the circuit breakers don't work. Ergi, if you had to choose only one 737 airline to fly for the rest of your MSFS career, which would you pick? Oh. God, that's a good question. You see, I'd be torn. I'd be torn between TUI and Jet 2, maybe. Oh, you know what? I don't know. Really don't know. What would you? Who would you pick? That's probably. I'm going to spin it back round to you guys. If you guys could choose only one 737 airline to fly for the rest of your MSFS flight career, which would you pick? And perhaps even why? Did you see the click spot on the handle for the heads-up display? Yes. So I've deactivated it on this option, but it is in the menu. You can add it in here. Personally, it's not something I ever use, so I've disabled it. I like to have the old school look without a heads-up display. I find it a little distracting. Lona, do you have the Thrustmaster Airbus side stick? No. I used to have a Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS. Got rid of it, and I'm really glad I got rid of it. I've got a fantastic Turtle Beach Velocity 1 yoke and throttle, and it's got 4 quadrants and an actual trim wheel. It's also got 3 general aviation throttle prop and mixture levers as well, and loads of customizable buttons. And it's a fantastic yoke, really good. For my actual setup, go to britishavgeek.com/about and you'll find it all there. Alex going for the same, toss the coin as well. Jet 2 and TUI. Oh. David go for Ryanair, so he'd never feel bad about the landings. All the merriers going for Singapore. Gardell's Ryanair as well. Golf for Andrew, being from Brazil. Fantastic. Of course, some great approaches into Santos Dumont as well if you're doing Gol. Andy's going for China Eastern. Very nice. Something different. Ergi for Norwegian. TUI in second place. Southwest for Night Shepherd. Plenty of routes there as well. You'd be exploring the States for ages and ages and ages with that. Matthias says Ryanair as well, liking the shorter routes, and they can go to some random locations. They're a little bit off-centre. South African Airways for Bossman. Nice. Evil Cookie, how has the sim been running for you after sim update 9? It's not been running too well for me. I've experienced a lot more instability, it has to be said. Yeah, I've experienced a lot more instability. Now, interestingly today, I feel like a setting has changed inside the sim. It's giving me different performance. I don't know, it's weird. Ethan, hello. Septi, fantastic. Very jealous of that. Love to be on a pilot program. Clayton, it is on the list. It is on the list. Manchester to Gran Canaria, I think, wasn't it? It is on the list, but there's so much going on in Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment. I just don't have the time to do those at the moment. The list is ever increasing, but we've got to do the 146, we've got to check out the BA 146 now that's released as well properly, and everything else too. You know, maybe the Mad Dog as well, a couple of streams. Duke Dan, hello. How are you enjoying your new scenery, by the way? Neil, there we go, that's a good idea. Neil would fly for a charter Boeing business jet airline, and that way you can go anywhere you want. There's Matthew, sorry, not sure when it's coming out. PMDG have said they're hoping that it will release next weekend. This weekend coming, I should say. Mediz is asking, is there a way to fix the mapping on the Bing photogrammetry around Fuerteventura and the sort of the Canary Islands? No, I guess we just probably have to wait for an update from the Bing data, I suppose. Carno, why do the displays not reflect any lights? It's not like real life. Well, it depends where the sun is, and the sun isn't behind us reflecting onto it at the moment. But the sun's behind us. With that in mind, where is the sun actually? You know what? It's probably completely above us. Hence why there's no reflections. We're getting little bits of trickling light through, and actually earlier and yesterday we had some reflections across the screens, Kakano, so do check it out. Yesterday's stream especially, we had a lot of reflections over the displays, so it's not a bug. Oh, Hergy. Is Brussels the best quality payware airport at the moment? I'll probably say so, yeah, with the amount of complexity to it and the amount of detail you get in it. Yeah, I probably would say it is. Bossman, well yeah, South African Airways, they're constantly going in and out of administration, aren't they? I mean, a lot of people seem to be having problems with the Thrustmaster TCA ever since release, which I find quite surprising. And Thrustmaster I don't think have done very much to sort of deal with it, and then they've released an incredibly expensive Boeing kit, which I wouldn't recommend getting. It's a huge price for what you get. It's very expensive these days. You get a lot more value for money with other hardware, that's for certain. Jasper, hello. Who knows, perhaps we get a couple of turns in a little while and you'll be able to see. That sounds like we're almost picking up Madrid. Leo, have you tried doing manoeuvres in it? What do you mean? What sort of manoeuvres? Don't really know what you mean, Kakano, to be honest. Yeah, exactly, Septi. The Boeing... Yeah, exactly, yeah. I don't understand why anyone would pay 500 quid or so for a Boeing Thrustmaster yoke, and so I think it's grossly expensive. The Turtle Beach Velocity 1, for example, you get a yoke, you get 4-quadrant throttle, you get a trim wheel, and then you get general aviation throttle proper mixture levers. You get 3, 6, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 customizable buttons. You've got 2 top hats, you've got some rocker switches, there's so much customization on this setup, and it's even cheaper. And then you've got the honeycomb systems as well. Honeycomb Alpha Bravo, even cheaper than the Thrustmaster kit. So yeah, pick a better option, I guess. I could probably, you know. Sergeant Lobster, what's your video on setting up the VOR approach? Do you plan on doing one for straight ILS landings? The 737? I've already done one. Into Brussels, actually, funnily enough. So do check that out. It's on the website too, on the PMDG 737 page. Tubelubes, have I ever tried the Honeycomb Alpha and Bravo? No. I haven't. I'd love to have a Honeycomb setup, but for now I'm really pleased with my Turtle Beach kit. Wi-Fi, yeah. It's mass produced and cheaply built, I think, and then expensively priced. Like I say, I mean, I can highly recommend the Turtle Beach Velocity 1 flight, and I haven't got the Honeycomb, but I would probably say Honeycomb's the best option that you can get. But for value for money, £350 for the Turtle Beach kit, very, very good indeed. Blown up, what about Track IR, Tobii Eye Tracker? Are they any good? No, well, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure. Haven't got Tobii Eye Tracker. I know a couple of folks have, and they've said it's really good. It depends on your setup. I mean, I was looking at my setup the other day, sort of looking around at the monitor and the position of it. And the Tobii Eye Tracker, for example, has to be mounted below the monitor. It looks up into your face. And my setup doesn't really allow for that without me moving a lot of stuff around. I've tried, is it Smooth Track, which links onto your phone? I've tried that in the past. That's quite cool. £2 for the app. And then you just download Track IR, which is free. And I gave that a go, and that was quite cool. But I found it a bit clunky. You kind of lean, it can lose track of your face a little bit, and it just gets a bit confusing. So it's easier for me to just press and hold my right mouse click and look up, look across, look down at the throttles, and then click a button on my yoke to reset the view. And that saves me £300. I think, well, that's roughly what the Tobii Track IR thing is, isn't it? The Tobii tracker. Very expensive. Triforce, hello, welcome. I think I heard you saying the bird releases next weekend. Is that correct? So, not quite. I said that the PMDG team are hoping to get everything ready for release next for this weekend coming, but there's no guarantees attached to that, and it's all depending on whether or not PMDG feel like it's in a position in development where they're happy with everything getting it released to the public. Smooth Track, that's it, nerds. Yeah, Smooth Track on my phone, and the Open Track setup. That's the one. Thanks for reminding me. It's been ages since I've used it, but I remember using that too. Yeah, blown up. Tobii Eye Tracker's £259, or you can use Smooth Track on your phone. Download the app. It's about £2 to £5, and then you can download Little Open Track setup, or Open Track, sorry, which is freeware, I think, and that's it. You've saved £255. And then you can use that money that you've saved to purchase things like the PMDG 737 or the Leonardo Mad Dog, the Just Flight 146, and loads of really good scenery too. Matthias, no pricing for the 737 just yet, no. Big savings, blown up, yeah. Give Smooth Track a go, link it to your phone. Really easy to set up with Smooth, with Open Track, which is free. And yeah, really nice fun. Certainly a lot cheaper than something like Track IR or Tobii Eye Tracker. The only downside to it, you've got to have your phone on, and because it's linked to your phone. So then you'll have to have your phone plugged in because it'll be running out of sort of battery all the time as well. Mediz is asking about what my favourite prop plane is. Well, it's got to be the PA-28. Philip, what would the price for the Turtle Beach Velocity 1 be over in the UK? It's £350. I'm not sure what that is in Australian dollars. Is it about 500 Australian dollars? I'm not sure. It is 621 Australian dollars, the equivalent price in the UK. This is where we find out UK customers get charged more, as is standard in most cases, it seems. Like the Leonardo Mad Dog. Get this. If you're going to buy the MD82 for MSFS in the UK, it's £75. That's huge. If you buy it in America, it's nearer to £50. Oh my god, Philip, that's a huge saving. So if you're in Australia, the Turtle Beach Velocity 1 flight is about 430 Australian dollars, is that, Philip? Or is that 430 US dollars? That's got to be US dollars, surely. Which is still cheaper. And less tax. We get charged 20% or so here, don't we, in the UK? Crazy. Tube Lubes, links won't really work in the live chat. It's a YouTube thing. Feel free, though, to send me... Oh my god, Philip. No, Australian dollars. 430 Australian dollars for the Turtle Beach Velocity 1. That's a mega deal. That's incredibly good. Triforce, ooh. Flying the PA-28 today, just flight, might have noticed the ADF is not working as it should. We'll explain what's happening and what your expected behaviour is of it. Well, blown up. VPN doesn't always properly use, because on SIM Market, for example, you put a VPN in to purchase the MD82 via, say, America, and it still knows you're in the UK, so it still charges you the tax. Philip, yeah, turn the volume up. Philip's wife. The Turtle Beach Velocity 1 is an exceptional deal. Oh, it's like a third cheaper than it is in the UK, than you guys in Australia. Philip, is that on Amazon as well, by any chance? Night Shepherd will be buying one tomorrow. Oh, very nice. Make sure you go through the website, britishavgeek.com/about, and if you click that picture of the Turtle Beach Velocity 1, what it will do is, well, it's like an affiliate link, so it'll assist in kind of supporting the stream. I'll get a little bit back, I guess, from that. There's like an Amazon influencer link, whatever it's called, something like that anyway. Septi, I understand if you can't, might not want to speculate, but what would you assume the price will be for the 737? I really don't know. Really don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to hazard a guess too much. I mean, I feel like it's going to be around DC6 price. I certainly feel like it's going to be cheaper than the MD82, but I really don't know. Really don't know, so I don't want to commit to anything. We have to wait for PMDG to announce it, and once they set a price, then they'll tell us. What about US tax, Amaze Taste? Does the US include sales tax? So even if it does, a lot of the states in the US charge, like, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% tax. I think the most expensive is it 6 to 8%? I think in either Vegas or Boston, I'm not sure. I think Boston was 6% when I last visited years back. So even that's massively cheaper. Yeah, it depends on the state. But as Steve's saying there, even the beta testers don't know the price for release, folks, for this 737. So we will know on the PMDG forums, on the official forums, when they sort of announce it, basically. So once it comes from Robert's mouth, we'll know exactly what the price will be, and that's the only way we're ever going to know. So I guess we've got our hopes. We can hope, we can estimate, but it's just speculation, which I guess isn't really helpful to the folks at PMDG. Time will tell, and if fingers crossed they get the beta to a stage where they think, you know what, let's release this on Friday coming up, which is the forecast hopeful potential that Robert has suggested on the forums. They've said they're hoping to get it released by this weekend, but again, no guarantees. But say, for example, they're looking at it and they think, you know what, actually Friday it's ready. A couple of days prior to that, they will announce the price on the forum, so that's the best place to find it, straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. No offense, Robert. But yeah, PMDG forums will tell you all the things you need to know. Now this is interesting. I feel like I'm getting a Sim Update 9 performance issue, because I'm noticing my frame rates are slowly eking away now. How long have we been flying? 2 hours? And I'm at 19 frames per second now, which is rather frustrating. It sounds like we've got some sort of issue with the sim and it's bleeding performance away. But I've not changed any settings, which is weird. But we have noticed a few things seem different today when I booted the sim. No stream deck, Ian. Lap 30 has given us a V approach of 136 on the estimate for the calculators and a VREF of 131, and it's recommending auto brake 2 or 3. Landing altitude 200. And actually we're 1,000 kilos below maximum landing weight. But I'll write all that down so then I can close the VAS airplane toolbox just in case that's doing anything. Well, actually, it's giving me about 4 or 5 frames back. David's maintaining 33. Weird. What is it that's causing this today? I mean, I know some people have reported issues with Atlanta in the past. And I've closed that. And I know it runs in the background, so perhaps restart that. Yeah, Robert did say we're going to be pleasantly surprised. I'm looking forward to finding out what price it will be. Matthew, sorry, question. Question. A32NX or PMDG 737? All day long. PMDG 737 is so good. I'm absolutely loving every second of learning this aeroplane and flying it and enjoying it. It's really immersive, nicely detailed, it sounds great, it looks fantastic, and you get quite a nice rewarding feeling when you're learning it as well. And I haven't got any complaints with it so far. Really haven't. Can't think of anything. Casper, what graphics card do you have? I've got the RTX 2070 Super. Yeah, David, I think he did, yeah. But again, who knows? Who knows? The ADF needle in the Just Flight PA28 is just oscillating rather than pointing me towards that beacon. Well, how far away are you from it? And if you turn the speaker to get the tone on the ADF, are you hearing the correct tone? Blown up. Not sure. I mean, the maths is correct, but again, it doesn't necessarily mean that's what the price is going to be. Keep smashing that like button while you're here, folks, as well. Hopefully you're all enjoying it today. Yeah, definitely losing frames here. Down to 17 now and 15. Weird. It's causing it. Tim Scott, hello! Yeah, it is really good. Really good. Is there anything I can do to the NVIDIA... what's it called? To turn game mode off in flight? Clouds look spectacular, don't they? Very nice. Mind you, one thing I have done recently is I've turned rolling cache off. I wonder if that could be having a bit of an impact somehow. Matthew, no worries. I mean, as I said a few times, this is my best performing aircraft in the sim with my spec. Even smoother than the A32NX, which, you know, I get when I'm looking around left and right and things with the A320, I get the occasional stutters and things still. Yeah, David, it's weird. It seems to be a thing with MSFS at the moment where some flights it will just tank on performance and there's no rhyme or reason behind it. We've turned NDU off as well. That doesn't really seem to do anything for me. Daybase saying the frames seem smoother. I mean, who knows? Let's see. See how far see how far we get. See how far we get before things become problematic on the frames. I mean, every now and again they do go back up. Lucas, yeah, we're using 122.8. Oh, Peter's had another crash to desktop. That's not good. Carlos, should I use the default MSFS ATC for the 737? Well, if you use that for flight sim, then absolutely give it a go. Personally, I find the default MSFS ATC shockingly bad, so I would recommend just not using it at all in general, if I'm honest. Let's have a little look here. We've got Volanta back open. Let's see if we've got any ATC nearer to Brussels. We're just passing Bilbao now, actually. We're making really good progress on the way in. Mason, better for me. Let's do TAF EBBR. Oh, and it doesn't know it. Brilliant. Thanks, vPilot. Let's do METAR EBBR, and I'm going to find a TAFR, our Discord server instead. 1350. No wind at all. I know. Maybe it's a live weather thing. Is live weather down in the sim at the moment? Interesting one, isn't it? Perhaps it's linked to the live weather being problematic. I know that's caused issues with performance in the past, where live weather bugs out a little bit, and yeah, interesting we don't have any wind. I mean, if I go to, is it legs? Route data. Oh, in fairness, Abrix 260 at 4. Maybe it is just a calm day up here. Oh god. How do I disable that? I think I got rid of it. Oh god. Thankfully, we didn't hit descent now properly. Yeah, Mason, absolutely. Look forward to it. Let's load some winds. In fact, I know, if I go to Prague, next page, there we go. So we do have winds at the moment. Winds 222 degrees at 3 knots. It's giving us a 4 knot tailwind and a 1 knot left crosswind. There you go. TMT-CT is going to give us a little wave from Biarritz. Lovely. So live weather does look okay at the moment, I think, then, by the looks of it. Any price yet, Mason? No, nothing yet. The best thing to do is monitor the PMDG forums, the official forums, and you'll see in the general news and announcements tabs a lot of the development updates posts from the PMDG team and Robert as the development moves forward through nearer towards release. So all I can say really is monitor the official PMDG forums. That's the best place you're going to get all of the information for this release. Including the release date when it does get set and the release price when it does get set as well. So pointless going anywhere else for it. The best place to get the information is direct from the developers on the forums. Have a little look on Discord onto our metars and charts tab just to sort of find out what the TAF is going to be nearer to Brussels. Which is our forecast. Suggesting winds all day 030 degrees at 9 knots, few clouds 4,000 feet and 10 kilometers or more visibility. Nice. Well, I'm going to commit then, I think, to... By the way, Biarritz is down here somewhere. Where is it? So, oh, here's the French coast. Biarritz is down here. There's Philip over there. Henrik, yeah. Have Asobo acknowledged it at least? I have failed to sort of keep up to date with all of that sort of thing. Lovely, 20% there. Departure arrivals, Brussels, ARVOL 7 Alpha, and we're going to do ILS runway 01 via Turkey. There's ARVOL, Kovi, Rodri, Kirky at 7,000. It's been investigated. Of course they said that. They always say that. Okay, let's compare this against the charts, shall we? Make sure we've got the correct nav data. Swivel that across so you can see both. So, ARVOL 7 Alpha is our arrival today. So there's ARVOL, max 250 knots. And it's an SLP as well. So you can see in the constraints there, in magenta, 250 knots. And the 7 Alpha is going to take us 034 degrees up to a Kovi, then Rodri, and then Kirky. And you can see we've got the Afligem VOR 114.9, which kind of reminds me of the tutorial I did the other week. Afligem 144.9 AFI. And at Kirky, we want to be around 7,000 or so feet, 8,000, 9,000 feet perhaps. From there, we want to flick across to this. So from Affligen, we're going to head south 065 degrees, 12 miles. We're going to then turn left to Nivor, 3,000 feet. We're then going to be tracking the Holdenberg VOR 117.55. When we get to 10.5 DME, we're going to then start to turn our course to 013 degrees to intercept the ILS approach runway 01. There's the Brussels NDB of 314, we'll tune that into ADF 1, just in case we need that for any reason. And the ILS frequency of 109.9er, we're going to tune that into both nav 1 and nav 2. And the Brussels VOR of BUB there as well. Let's tune what is required for the missed approach effectively to the standby boxes. So missed approach, climb on track 013 at 1,500 feet, turn left heading 305, climb to 4,000 then as directed, so it will be just vectors from ATC. With the comm failure though, slash Unicom, climb on a track 013, 1,500 turn left heading 305 to intercept, follow the 2 to 8 degree radial to Antwerp, fly to Kirky, climb to 4,000 and hold at Kirky. And there's a lot of information on these charts. Speed limitations, minimum 220 knots from initial approach fix until lock intercept. So we've got to hold at least 220 knots until we become established. Then it's a minimum of 180 knots from 12 DME to 6 DME to the touchdown zone. And then 160 knots until outer marker. No exceptions between 0800 and 10 local. So actually we're outside of that. So we could flex that one. Unless otherwise instructed by ATC. So we've got to remember that as well. Where's my notepad? So minimum of 220 knots. And that's going to be from Kirky. So minimum of 220 knots from Kirky to intercept. And then we've got the next bit is minimum of 180 to 6 DME. Threshold. And I'll ignore the other one. Minimums 375 on the Barrow. And we want to be mandatory 2,000 feet by 6 miles, basically. Degree glide slope. Got ILS 109.9. Course of 013. Degrees. Happy days. So we kind of know what to expect as we get a bit closer. Andrew, how long's the flight? In total, airtime was about 3 hours 10 minutes, I think. 3 hours 15 minutes. We are over the halfway point though. We're kind of, there's the coast of France, South France. Coastline looks awful down below there, doesn't it, from this altitude? Thankfully, the livery is rather nice. Lighter, is this a new build? So it's a build that was sent to me just as Sim Update 9 was being released. However, the beta testers have got a much more up-to-date version. Swamp, well, I've never flown an Arrow in real life. I've only ever flown a Warrior. An Arrow is a complex type, so you need a complex type rating for it, because it's got prop levers, constant speed propeller, and all that sort of stuff. So you have to then learn how to manage that as well. So it's an additional category on your license, I suppose. An additional rating. Okay, we're going to go through here again, just make sure we haven't got anything. Finals, 1500, 305, 4000 vectors. Lovely. 357 nautical miles to top of descent. And I could probably put in QNH 1019 because no significant changes expected in the next 2 hours. It might change by 1 hectopascal. I wouldn't worry too much. So we've still got to fly all the way over France, over Paris, before we get towards Brussels. I wonder if actually, if we go Alt V, yeah, see, we're still out of range. Let's Control V, Shift V, sorry, for the Aerosoft VDGS driver. Harry's just spotted us screenshots on Volanta. They look great. Beautiful, isn't it? Could reset the clock. We're holding at about 18 frames at the moment, so I'm not too worried. I know we've got the VDGS driver, which is running in the background as well, and it's kind of tracking us until we get closer to Brussels. Perhaps that could be wrecking performance a little bit today as well. It's the first time we're flying into Brussels with the VDGS active. Becky, good afternoon, welcome. Oh, Doc. Awesome. So does it go Brussels Agadir and then extend as a 5th Freedom flight to Menara? Before returning straight direct back to Brussels? I reckon we can tune some of these frequencies in, just so we're kind of ahead of the game with the aeroplane as we're flying along. 114.9 for Affligan. Christopher, yeah, so basically what will happen with the executable file for the Aerosoft Brussels, the VDGS driver is an executable, lives inside the community folder. When you boot the sim and you load into the sim, it will automatically run itself. It should automatically run itself. The 1149, Lumberg 11755. $1099 for the ILS. 19. $1099 and the ADF 314. Christopher, no. Well, I've known it to not necessarily load up properly if you get into the sim and it doesn't work. So even if you go into the community folder, then you double click the executable file, it might or might not load by that point. Fisk, welcome. Harry, good afternoon. But you can't start it during the taxi in. So if you do, I don't think it will work properly. At least when I've done it before and I've not had it active for whatever reason, because I've not updated it properly and I had a missing module, I'd manually double click the executable file to make it run during a taxi in, and it didn't load. But they are pushing the capabilities of the sim with it, so I guess sometimes it might not work, the VDGS. It depends on the circumstances, I suppose. Course 013. We'll do that in a little while, Doc. In fact, I might do it now. Now you've said it, because I'll forget it. HK is doing really well, thanks. We're having the dreaded Microsoft Flight Simulator sim update performance bug at the moment, annoyingly. So yet another day where just randomly the sim decides to have a memory leak or something, I don't really know. So we're down to about 16 frames per second, which is really annoying. But the aircraft's coping well with it. Triforce, no. I don't see the point in it. I get the idea of auto land. I understand why people like to do it. But for me, I like to hand fly the last bit myself. Especially if you've sat there on autopilot for the last 2 or 3 hours. It's nice to have that last little bit. Yeah, it suggests to me that Asobo don't know why it's happening. I've done is it the NDU disable thing as well? We did that. To PC days. We're over France now, Bossman. In fact, let's have a little look. Try and load up Valanta again. I mean, sometimes it's been Valanta getting a memory leak, and that did update yesterday. We are over Bordeaux, and to the left-hand side of the aircraft, underneath us, in fact, down there, La Rochelle. Having nice, yes you certainly do. If you've not checked my ILS tutorial, then have a little look at that, because it will go through stuff a little bit slower and a bit more detail. You need to arm the CMDB and all that sort of stuff. You've got to set both courses, the navs. Peter, Valanta crashed on me, so Valanta might be giving you your problems. Ooh, interesting. Right, let's quit Valanta proper out of the box. Scott, unknown. We don't know yet. No, it's not Valanta. Yeah, I think it's just Microsoft Flight Simulator being a bugger again. Its usual random instability that just comes about at times. I mean, in fairness to Asobo, we wouldn't have Microsoft Flight Simulator if it wasn't for them. So we've got to appreciate how fantastic this sim is. Ashley, welcome. Just remembered that FSDG made Agadir scenery for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Might be tempted to do the Brussels Agadir Menara Brussels rotation once the 700 is released. That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it? Bossman, yeah, we've got live weather on. Live weather, live time. I mean, it could be all manner of things inside Microsoft Flight Simulator, couldn't it? It's one of those days where the sim just doesn't want to be smooth. But we're all good. The aeroplane's still flying. That's all that matters. It's probably going to be something to do with the live weather. The last time we had a memory leak of some sort, it was linked to the live weather, I think, wasn't it? This is the longest flight that we've done in a little while. Having said that, I mean, as HK Simulation has said there, when it comes, HK says, when it comes to optimization, Aerosoft and PMDG are #1. So, in relation to this is the smoothest aircraft that I've got in the hangar. If you're just tuning in and you're wondering, you know, is it better than the A32NX by means of performance? Oh, Neil, you make a good point. Isn't the 3-knot wind the default? I think it is, isn't it? Is it 270 at 3, which is like the default weather setting? Because we still don't have any wind indication here. .344 at 9 was the forecast. 010 at 11 for that one. So if you go to progress, we've got 261 at 5. It is variable, it is changing ever so slightly. Predominantly a crosswind for us now as well. Brussels approach is online. Brilliant. That puts a little bit of worry into me. Certainly handle the plane, I just don't know if the sim can last long enough. ATIS, Brussels National Information Alpha, expect procedural ILS approach, runway 01 for arrivals, clear and dry, runway 07 right for departures. Transition level, flight level 50, wind variable 7 knots, ceiling of visibility okay, temperature 18 degrees, dew point 0, QNH 1019. So transition, flight level 50. With that in mind, let's go to Joe's going to get the DC6 after the 737-700 while I wait for the 800. Then I'm going to wait till the 777 comes. Wow, PMDG spree. You're going to love it. The DC6 is great fun. It's an absolute heck of a handful to fly, though. When you're actually in it and you're flying it in the sim, you can completely understand why it takes 3 or 4 people to actually fly the aeroplane, keep it in the air, all the engines running and everything else. Very difficult. Jude Orange, I always find it strange that planes commonly cruise at a 3-degree angle. It's weird, isn't it? HK, yeah, Leonardo's MD-82 also has good reviews in performance, but I've heard the sounds are pretty rubbish. And for me, in the UK, it's 75 quid. Including tax, for me to spend £75 on an add-on with rubbish sounds, which I'll then need to hope a mod comes out for, or updates come in the future for it. Those sounds are part of the immersion, aren't they? If the sounds are rubbish, I mean, look at the okay, here we go, prime example, perfect actually. When Aerosoft released the Twin Otter, and there were a couple of not very smooth transitions between sounds, people exploded in the forums. Yet, bizarrely for Leonardo, people are like, oh, it's okay. So why is there a difference? The MD-80 is twice the price. So why is it acceptable for average sounds in that? That's a little off-the-cuff off the cuff thought there I've just come up with, just sprung into mind. Swamp's going to be getting the Aerosoft CRJ after the 737. That's one of my favourites, absolutely. This is my favourite by a long stretch now, the 737. This PMDG aircraft in MSFS is just fantastic. 275 at 6 now. So it looks like we're getting some wind back in. David, that's good to know, because I've not really been following all of the forums and things. The textures as well, interesting. What's wrong with the textures? I'm not... I mean, I haven't got the aircraft, I haven't purchased it yet. Mainly because some of the reviews kind of had some fairly bad sounds associated with them, so it's put me on hold for a little while. How are we doing on fuel? 53, 264, 267. A little bit left in the left tank, but that's because we had the APU running out of Marrakech. Yeah, you see, that's the excuse I keep hearing, Ashley. It's okay for Leonardo to have bad sounds in the Mad Dog because they're all about simulation, they've never been good about sounds. But, like you say there, that's no excuse for having higher expectations for a cheaper product. And yeah, I completely agree with you there. There's no excuse. You're charging 75 quid in total, and they can say, oh, it's £50, but it's not. It's 75 quid because the tax, and that's 20% for us folk in the UK. It's a huge tax to pay on something, which increases the value quite a bit of how much we're spending to a £75 add-on. I would expect the sounds to be a lot better. Look how fantastic, actually. Look how amazing the sounds are in the PMDG DC6. The rawness of the big radial engines. So yeah, I'd expect the Leonardo sounds to be better. Certainly to be improved very quickly as well. There are a lot of insults getting thrown around on the forums for a lot of developers. As you say, a lot of it not very constructive at all. But we try to be constructive here. Neil wants a nice Canberra, Australia scenery. You can look out around about Oz in the RAF BBJ. That would be cool. Exploring all over Australia. Boarding time. Welcome. Jay, why should FT Sim have to do MD80 sounds to make it sound better when it's a £75 add-on? That's a huge price for you to then have to then pay for a sound add-on on top of it. I don't get it. For me, that's not acceptable, being honest. Tavanaris, there will be a tablet in the future. It's not going to be included on initial release, but during the support program that PMDG have spoke about on the forums, there's about 24-week period where they're going to be working on things and improving and updating and adding things to it, including the weather radar. When Asobo release the API for it to the developers, they're then going to also add in the EFB. So I think we can expect the EFB around roughly the time when the 800 gets released, perhaps. Oh, David. So Leonardo's Mad Dog sounds like the default X-Plane MD80, and absolutely unacceptable. But yeah, that is not good to hear. Amaze Taste, did I use any of the flight sims before Microsoft Flight Simulator? That's a good question. Yeah, one. Oh. Don't laugh. It's been a long time. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2002, my last one. Swamp says, I think at times it's not fair when people insult developers. Why don't they create the aircraft themselves if they're so negative? So they've got the skills and they've got the ability to create the aircraft, right? We don't. I mean, it's incredibly intelligent and it's really impressive what they do. look at this. It blows my mind how detailed the 737 is and how you simulate everything, failures and the oil being used, and I don't understand it at all. But it blows my mind how fantastic these developers are. But a lot of them, especially the premium developers, are putting a lot of emphasis into making the sounds just sound about right. And then some of them have gone, oh well, it's acceptable because they've always been known for complex simulation, but the sounds have not been that great. But you're going to charge a lot of money for something, get it right. At least make an attempt to improve it based on your previous one. But they've got to take, as long as it's constructive criticism, don't forget, it can be helpful to developers, because they rely on market feedback. As long as it's going to be detailed and it's constructive criticism for a developer, I think it's important to give that back. You can come out and say, yeah, Captain Sim with a 767 and 777. I mean, that's just a proper scummy sort of product. They're just preying on people that want a plane. They don't care about the detail and the sort of complexity to it. They've just taken a model that they've purchased and tweaked and improved. They released a 777 without any sounds, for example, and that's just disgraceful. Yet people keep buying their products, and we try to put it out there that people shouldn't be purchasing Captain Sim things. We've gone off on a tangent now, haven't we? But people still buy it. It is what it is. But Leonardo, for example, they're asking, including the tax for myself in the UK and Ashley and others, we get charged 20% VAT here. So for a 50 or so pound product, it's actually £75 by the time we actually pay for it via Sim Market, and that's a lot of money to ask. It's a third of an hour for a flying lesson for me, and if I think the sounds are bad, yeah, maybe it just makes me put my purchase on hold a little bit. And don't forget as well, how is the Leonardo MD-80s marketed at the moment? If you go onto Sim Market, the first thing you see, one of the first things you see is the Leonardo MD-80, right? I'm going to try and find it now. There we go. And what does it say? Literally, I think it says, where is it? Here we go. Oh, they've changed it. Interesting. There was a thumbnail on here saying... Oh, there we go. It's still there. Sim Market, fly the Mad Dog X, the most advanced airliner for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. But it's missing the complexity of the sounds. And the sounds aren't advanced. And they want 75 quid for that. Well, Jus d'Orange saying, I'm scared PMDG won't modify the price of the 737 now based on UK tax. So the tax is put on top of the price, so the developers don't lose out, don't forget. And PMDG are based in the US, so all they've got to worry about is the US tax structure. Because I mean, getting complex in relation to tax here, but in a way, effectively, if you're in the US and you own or you're selling stuff in the UK, you don't pay UK tax if you're paying US tax, and vice versa, because there's a tax treaty in place. So, and again, when it's sold online on shops and things, the tax is in addition to the cost. Recon, wow, I used to use the 737 on X-Plane Mobile. Didn't even know that was a thing. That's awesome. So it's a lot of nostalgia to get it on Microsoft Flight Simulator. Can't wait. Good to hear. Imagine playing that in 2002 and seeing what we've got now, Luke Amaze Taste says. Incredibly crazy, isn't it? I mean, all I can remember from Flight Sim 2002, it's pretty much the only flight I ever did, because the world was locked down, wasn't it, back then? You started at Makesfield, and all I would ever do was fly in the default Concorde or the default 777 to Chicago O'Hare, and then that's it, and I'd close the sim. Or I'd do an auto rotation with the default helicopter that was included. Recon's asking about prices. Again, not sure. We don't know. Monitor the PMDG official forums for all the latest information for that. Oscar wants me to stop flying it. Hey, hopefully it's coming soon. The sim wants me to stop flying because the sim's got a memory leak again today, which is bizarre. David says, I'm glad you're bringing it up. Times have changed and the developers can sell and make way for more profit than they used to in X-Plane or P3D. We have a right to expect realistic sounds as well. Yeah, and if they're arguing and saying that it's the most advanced simulation of an aircraft in MSFS, when the CRJ sounds are actually a lot better from Aerosoft, and it's 15, 20, 30 quid cheaper, yeah, I would definitely expect more from the Mad Dog, Leonardo Mad Dog. But again, I've not tried it, so I personally haven't heard the sounds in my own sim. I've just seen it from other videos, other streams, that sort of thing, across the sphere, the community. Ghost, have I considered taking the 737 into Barrow, Alaska? There is a really nice freeware airport. No, I haven't actually. I do need to do Anchorage to Juneau, actually. That is a thing that's on the list for the 737 ops. Or no, actually it was the BA146 ops into Juneau. May says yes. Electric bill in the UK. Gas and electric is through the roof, isn't it? Making things quite expensive these days, sadly. Alec, yeah. Microsoft Flight Simulator Sim Update 9 doing its thing. First post Sim Update frames per second degradation that we've had. We're dropping down to sort of 15 to 9 now. Why does Microsoft Flight Simulator do this to us at times? It's so frustrating. Got half an hour to go, and we're going to be at slideshow by that point. Unless I turn live weather off for, say, 20 minutes. Who knows? Look how slow that was loading. The only thing I can think of. Is turning live weather off for maybe 20 minutes or so, but weirdly... Oh, actually, hold on, that's because we've got the George... What's it called? Not George. Floyd's Epic Clouds. I like 6. 6 is a nice preset, look at that. Alec, yeah, we've got NDU disabled. Unless now the advice is to enable it again. Captain, the CRJ from Aerosoft is one of my favourite aircraft. I know Aerosoft haven't updated it for a little while, but that's because they're saying that it's at a stage that they're happy with until Asobo release things like the weather API, because they can't really do anything else with it. So what Aerosoft are waiting for, and again this is where the criticism, it hasn't been particularly constructive or fair to Aerosoft elsewhere. They're waiting for the weather API, like a lot of other developers are, and then they can continue building upon what they've done with the CRJ. And because, until then, there's no point. The aircraft still works really nicely, but they need MSFS to support the WASM module a little better for developers, similar to what PMDG are asking for. And then they need the weather data, so they can add in the weather data, the weather radar into the CRJ. So that's what Aerosoft are waiting for, which is why there haven't been any updates. Of course, if something pops in and causes a problem with an update, Aerosoft will update it, of course. Oh, look at that, we've got some cross-flow traffic. Got an aircraft going right to left, opposite direction. 15 frames per second now. Ghost, no, I've not heard that. All I've heard, albeit quite a while ago now, was a statement from Asobo saying that they're never going to decrypt the premium deluxe aircraft. Captain, no, I don't know where you've heard that. I mean, I personally like it. Again, it's a personal thing, and scenery and aircraft add-ons are subjective. So what I really like, you guys might not like as much, and vice versa. But I really like the CRJ. Yes, there are some issues with it. You can break the WASM module, you can crash the way the aeroplane flies, you can crash the systems, but that's not really an issue with the aircraft more than it is an issue with the sim. It's kind of 50-50 there. Well, changing live weather hasn't done anything. Turning live weather off hasn't done anything. Rake it. Microsoft Flight Simulator being MSFS, I suppose. Serious question though, why is your frames sort of quite low, he's asking. So it's just an issue that was introduced, was it Sim Update 8? Was it the one before that? I think it was Sim Update 8, wasn't it? Introduced a weird performance issue. People were saying set your NDU in Windows to disable, so I've done that, and it went through a period of giving me some decent frames, but actually now I'm finding it's not giving me that. Alex says in settings turn off all live data, photogrammetry, etc. Go back into sim, leave for a couple of minutes, then go back in and turn it back on. It's worked for both him and Ashley in the past. JB, yeah, I'd imagine there's some very strict contracts drawn up there then. Right, let's do this quickly, because we've got we're live on VATSIM still, don't forget. Turn it all off. Takes a few minutes. My good grief, it doesn't take this long. Oh, rake it. It's not usually 15, buddy. It's usually 35 or so.
Traffic.
Off-scale traffic, that's because we took too long. Got somebody right behind us, I think. That hasn't done anything for a bit, but we're just going to leave it for a little while. We've got we had a traffic conflict warning a second ago for off-scale traffic. Could be whoever's behind us. Yeah, but actually, Alec, if you're saying very strange, usually a couple of seconds, perhaps that is the problem then. Perhaps it's clinging on to data and it's, yeah, memory is sticking and things. This is where Microsoft Flight Simulator falls short, because you can have a remarkably incredible aircraft like this, a wonderful simulation, as we saw yesterday, demonstrated through 2 sectors. Then all of a sudden, you will do another flight, similar length, maybe a tiny bit longer, and an hour or 2 in, you start to lose frames. It makes no sense. Dutan, do you have any expectations for the planned shared cockpit Asobo will bring? I'm excited for it, but don't know what to expect. Well, if they can't stabilise the sim consistently without shared cockpit, how on earth are they going to be able to connect 2 computers in 2 different places in the world together? Zion, good question. So you've got 2 options really. You can set the state as a state saving across all the different liveries, or you can just allow it to sort of select states based upon the liveries. So it's up to you. You can use the FMS. You can use here, you can go to the menu, into PMDG setup, I think it is. Here we go, and you can go to panel state save, state load. You can choose whichever states you wish, and you can also do your startup state. So every time you spawn in, it will use that one. You can leave it blank if you wish, but I leave it on cold dark GPU, so there's a little ground power unit plugged in every time. There you go, Alec. Yeah, that's the issue. It's a data issue. It's not getting rid of the data it has loaded in the sim during the flight. So if we've turned it off for, say, 10 minutes, how does it then get rid of the data? I don't really understand that side of it. Jus d'Orange. Well, the problem is, a lot of the beta testers for Sim Update 9 don't actually properly beta test. A lot of them will just do it and sign up because they get early access to the new sim update, and it's an exciting thing. So I don't think there's as much quality of control with Asobo beta testing than we would probably like. Chris, do you have AI traffic enabled? We're just on that sim at the moment, so we've got all of the MSFS live traffic and all that sort of stuff turned off, but we're feeding data in from MSFS instead. Break it.
Apologies about the FPS stuff, bud. It's just you should be seeing more FPS than that unless there's a hardware issue. Sorry mate, lol.
Hey, absolutely no worries at all. Thank you very much for your super chat. Very generous of you. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it's not really so much of a hardware issue, though I have got a bit of a mid-range system. We have my sim usually locked at 35 frames per second, and it's consistently stuck at that. So effectively, it's just going to be a memory leak somewhere inside Microsoft Flight Simulator. As JBay's saying, some of the beta testers will bring up issues over and over again. It's obviously, you know, maybe Asobo aren't fixing the things that are a bit more of a priority. It's got to be something else, unless it's not cleared the data. Have you tried RAM map to clear the standby cache? What is that, Christian? I have no idea what that is. Meher, I tried that earlier actually. I saw your tip earlier on when you mentioned it, so I opened another window, clicked into it, and went back to the sim. That's the other thing that people have been experiencing a lot of at the moment, as Bossman's saying there, the weather disconnection from the server bugs. The thing is, I can confidently say it's not anything to do with the aircraft, because I've been doing a lot of flights with this as I've been learning it. I've been putting it through its paces. We've been doing a lot of complex stuff. Long flights like yesterday where we were streaming for 4 hours. Performance was consistently better than anything else that I've got installed. But every now and again, as we're finding today, Microsoft Flight Simulator drops in a bit of a performance degradation where it just leaks memory somehow and we lose frames ever so slightly. But it's all good. It is what it is. We've dealt with it in the past. We should deal with it again. We'll put live weather on again soon. Kakano, speaking of constructive criticism, how can I help? Task Manager Alex, I think I did that last time when things went a bit awry. What have we got here? So interestingly, CPU usage for Microsoft Flight Simulator is only about 30% and the GPU is only about 30%. And it's using standby. just watching some of the figures here change. Memory's RAM, isn't it? They're consistent. Microsoft Edge 5. Why on earth have we got 5 processors of Microsoft Edge? That's taking up 63 megabytes of RAM. Google Chrome 8 tabs. 200 meg on VRAM for Google Chrome, and I haven't got anything else set up except for how do you clear the standby cache, Christian? That's well beyond my ability to even sort of understand. Let's have a little look here. Trying to remember how we did performance and stuff as well. Details. Yeah, Alex, the only one I've got is YouTube Studio open at the moment, buddy. Crazy, isn't it? You have standby list cleaner by any chance? Blue face? No. Recon, that's a good question. No, it hugs the flight plan really nicely. Just recenter this heading bug. Break it. Do you prefer the PMDG or the flabber wire? That's a big one. That's a big question. I love both. Both are fantastic. Performance-wise, this is better. Alfie, just under an hour, I believe. In fact, top of descent in 40 miles. Wow, look at that. We're getting close. I can't remember how to turn, you know, you go onto processes and you change. Alright, well I've just changed it to high for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Hasn't done anything yet. Bossman's had endless issues with Bing Maps and photogrammetry constantly turning off, and this is how Bossman solved the problem. The current data consumption was at 150 something and it had red bar all the way across, so I upped the limit to 610, that got rid of the red bar. That seems to have fixed it for now anyway. Interesting. Perhaps you've got like a data cap or something on. Lighterer, are you allowed flaps 40 landings? Yes, but in real life you don't really get that much anyway, to be fair. Not much behind us, so I'm going to put photogrammetry and stuff back on, I think. Performance RAM. Available 16.2 gig. Cached 16.2. Okay, we're near top of descent anyway, so we need to go through some checks to get our arrival and weather data. Going to go, Brussels approach is online. And we've got ATIS, information Charlie, expect vectoring for ILS approach runway 01 for arrivals, clear and dry runway, 07 right for departures, wind now 050 degrees at 6 knots. Have okay, temperatures 18 degrees, QNH 1018. So you have no RAM left, Christian. Weird. There's definitely some sort of memory leak somewhere then, right? unless I clear the cache, but then that's going to take too long when we're live on VATSIM. And folk that have departed behind us are going to end up bottlenecking with us. How long have we got? 25 miles to top of descent. What else is next? We've got destination weather set, landing altitude is set. Done that to 200. Radios, we need to make sure we're on the next frequency. I've got 32 gig of RAM, Oscar. Christian, so is there something I can do now that can actually fix that, or I don't really understand how any of it works. I am not techie in any way, shape or form. 11825. RAM map, just a little app. Is it free? I've just downloaded something from the Microsoft website called RAM map. It's a zip. Right, let's go to our MCP altitudes and stuff here because I need to continue with our top of descent, fly the plane. I think we're going to set 70.
You're Charter 5002, ready for taxi.
Beginning on Charter 5002, taxi initially to Alpha 3, runway 07 left, QNH 1018.
1018, hold Alpha 3, you're Charter 5002.
Okay, well, this is just impossible almost.
1 Bravo Charlie, are you on frequency?
Empty standby list, is that what you click? I've clicked it. Don't know what it's doing. APS Gaming, hello, welcome. Oh, for goodness sake, this RAM issue is killing me. Gonna cause all manner of problems now, aren't I? Data. Oh, hold on. The cached RAM is now free and available again. Is there anything else that I can do to it? Turning the photogrammetry and stuff back on now because it made zero difference. Oh, actually, hold on. Oh no, that's because we're in the menu. What RAM do you have in your PC? We've got 32 gig of RAM, 3200 gigahertz, or whatever, 3200, whatever speed it runs at. I'm not great with that sort of stuff. It's got to be something else. Ian, odd trick that sometimes works for myself is grab CC Cleaner and run that in the background, making sure not to close anything when being prompted. I mean, this is frustratingly long, isn't it? But again...
Critical 07 left, and then outer to holding point Bravo 9, your Charter.
No, I've got an alright spec, Rake It. usually 99% of the time we get 35 frames per second locked. And I cap it at that so it doesn't go above it. But actually, I thought rolling cache was broken. I thought I read it on the forum somewhere, Ian. Well, usually that's what I run it with. Oh, yes. I saw it burst up to 35. I mean, this is taking a long time to reload everything in, isn't it?
After 9 Mike Tango, taxi holding point Charlie 6, runway 07 right.
We're not on ATC yet, though, thankfully. We've tuned in early.
Charlie 6, 07 right via the inner 10 and QNH 1018, Austrian 9 Mike Tango.
Turn on your data consumption, up the limit, turn it off again. Wow, we've got to get through that stage yet. It's just applying all the photogrammetry stuff again. I think rolling cache before I'd set to 32, I believe.
1 Bravo Charlie, are you on frequency?
Yeah, see what you can do.
Brussels approach, hello, Osprey 5563 with information Charlie, descending through flight level 245, inbound VEKIN.
Descend.
Oh, TCAS alert, folks.
Osprey 566.
Look at that. It's the first time you guys have heard TCAS potentially as well.
Alpha arrival, squawk 1000.
Actually, that's given us maybe 5-10 frames per second back, so it's a bit more manageable now. Just hopefully we haven't buggered anybody up behind us.
Follow the ARVOL 7 Alpha arrival. Expect vectors ILS 01 and squawk 1000 for Osprey 556.
Yeah, you know what? Frames and everything coming back.
63, correct, and descend flight level 80 to be level by KORIS.
Let's go live weather on, let's see what happens. So it was a data photogrammetry linked RAM issue, memory leak, inside MSFS. Look at that. Now we're back. Got certainly enough to get to Brussels, that's for sure. We're going to go Shift V, airport's in range.
And Osprey 5563, descend flight level 80. Could you repeat the level by waypoint, please?
Osprey 5563, yeah, no problem. Descend flight level 80 to be level by Turkey.
Descend flight level 80.
David, I think, is behind a little further, so hopefully we haven't stuffed him up too much. Let's click here, actually, let's have a little look. Okay, so he's about 5 miles behind.
Holding up Bravo 9.
Brandon, it certainly has. Okay, well, let's play catch up with just what's going on here. MCP reset altitude, altimeter needs to be set.
5002, runway 07 left, line of 08, expect
1018.
3 minutes waiting due to departure with the same routing.
Minimum is 375, let's get that set.
Full length, Bravo 10.
Thanks folks, I love it. You guys all in the live chat helping to help fix memory leaks and things.
Via Bravo 10, runway 07 left, line up 08.
Bravo 10, line up 08, 07 left.
That's interesting because we turned it all back on once we refreshed the cache issue. Brandon, I think mine was set to 64 as well. Usually that's what I run with, but I turned it off the other day. Going to require some drag, I think. Recreate a different size of rolling cache to overwrite the old cache recommended by MSFS after an update. Interesting. Yeah, we've got speed brake deployed.
After 9 Mike Tango, radar contact, time flight level 70.
Time flight level 70, 9 Mike Tango.
Oh, Ashley, thanks. There you go. So, Ashley saying that when you turn the data off, the performance only actually comes back on after I turn it back on. And interestingly, we've dived back up. I mean, it's not recovered to back where it usually does go, but we're getting there. That's recovered its VNAV path nicely, look. Steve Jars loving the spoiler rumble sound. Here we are in our descent. Frames are back. Oh yeah. Not all the way back to 35, but we got about 20 or so back. And for now, that's all that matters. And Beauty 8 Hotel Charlie's on his way in. On her way in, rather. I'm going to reset a rolling cache after this as well, after today's stream. Right, where's my Spotify? Let's get rid of music, we don't need it. Brussels approach. Brussels arrival, sorry. Information Charlie. Brussels arrival, good afternoon, Beauty 8 Hotel Charlie, Boeing 737 inbound VEKIN with information Charlie.
8 Hotel Charlie, Brussels arrival, hello, radar contact information Charlie is correct, squawk 1000, expect vectors for the ILS approach, runway 01.
Squawk 1000, expect vectors ILS 01, Beauty 8 Hotel Charlie.
Beauty 8 Hotel Charlie correct, and cleared ARVOL 7 Alpha arrival, descent flight level 80 to be level by Turkey.
Cleared ARVOL 7 Alpha arrival, descend flight level 80, level by Kirky, Beauty 8 Hotel Charlie.
Alpha 9 Mike Tango, no further ATC online, monitor Unicom 122.8, have a great flight, alright.
Where's Kirky? Oh, look at that. We'll have that. We're not on VNAV path.
No problem at all.
But actually, Kirky, we're going to be 80 just before that. We'll leave it on VNAV. Might need to slow it down a bit more. We'll leave it VNAV speed, VNAV path. Jack, Genevieve, welcome guys. Is a larger rolling cache better? You know what, I'm not sure, and I think it depends on how much you've got as well.
Station calling before Osprey, say again?
Right, continuing our checklist then. Radios need to be set. We've got Brussels approach.
Bravo, Roger. Same clearance as before. Report ready for push.
So PODEM, I'm ready for push. Just set everything up again. Sorry about that.
We're going to go.
No problem, take your time.
1019.
We're
going to set those frequencies.
Charlie current,
the
squawk 1000.
ILS.
Expect vectors for the ILS approach, runway 01.
1099.
Okay, I have
1099. They're set.
Charlie and
Course of 13. Course of 13.
ILS approach and squawk 1000. Osprey 490.
Minimums are set.
Okay, 556 feet, turn right, heading 140, descend 3000 feet, QNH 1018.
Altimeter set.
Turn right, so 150.
This is flight D10 because the aeroplane's now decelerating itself through the VNAV modes.
Okay, 556 east, right heading 140.
Apologies, right heading 140. Osprey 5563.
Osprey 490, cleared ARVOL 7, correction, cleared ARVOL 7 Alpha arrival, descend flight level 80 to be
We'll
level
go
by
speed
30.
intervention here. Right, so below transition altitude, we're going to set local pressure, but below 10, we're going to set runway turn-off lights to on, landing lights on, seatbelt signs go on. Announcements. Make sure I've got the TUI livery ready to go, the TUI announcements ready to go for later.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's the default one, that's awful. Okay, let's go down here. What GPU are you running, Quasi? It's the... Oh, we've got flight level 80. It is the RTX 2070 Super.
Osprey 5563, actually stop descent flight level 60. I have traffic in front of you below that is not on my frequency, and the supervisor is trying to remove him now.
Stop descent, flight level 60 for traffic, Osprey 5563, not a problem.
We want to keep it on speed intervention, to be fair, because I don't want to go 250 odd knots plus yet. Steve, I'll have 2 WestJets for your WestJet flight, your choice of liveries, fantastic. Steve's on his way in on a beta test for the Flaps 40 approach.
On conversion,
there he is, there she is still. Steve, thank you very much for all of your work painting this beautiful aeroplane today. Absolutely fantastic livery. Look at that with the flight detent as well with the speed brake. Quasi, absolutely fine. So this is my most stable aircraft in the sim, if that helps.
Then Charter 5002, sorry, I completely forgot about you. The wind 050 at 6, runway 07 left, clear for takeoff.
No worries, I was just about to ask, clear for takeoff, 07 left, your Charter 5002.
Osprey 5563, the traffic.
Stephen, thank you. And thank you for all of your efforts and for the rest of the beta team at PMDG as well for testing the aeroplane and getting it into a standard where you know, they're thinking about potentially releasing this weekend. So thank you to all of your efforts as a beta tester and delivery painter as well for PMDG. I really appreciate it. Keep smashing that like button, folks, as well. See if we can get to 200 likes before we touch down in Brussels. Aerosoft Brussels coming up. Water break 2, let's set that.
Osprey 5563, stop descent 4,000 feet, traffic is back.
Get the collar up to 30.
Osprey 5563.
Reset that. We're going to go into the index page now.
Charter 5002,
Approach.
Roger, maintain flight level
Flaps 30.
For now. There's, you'll be passing traffic above you that's not on my frequency. The supervisor is dealing with them.
That's probably going to change.
GT8 Hotel Charlie, turn right, heading 130.
Right, 130, BT8 Hotel Charlie.
Good afternoon, Brussels approach, KLR96, confirmation Charlie, checking in at flight level 70, KLR96.
KLR96, hello, you should have contacted me a while ago. Climb again, flight level 90 and set squawk 7106.
Climb flight level 90.
Holding for the crew.
And could you confirm that squawk for me, please, KLR96?
Squawk 7106.
They're off, let's arm them. Yeah, what bugs were discovered out of curiosity?
7106, apologies about the contact I was using.
Okay, so it looks like we're now in vectors.
Sorry, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I don't expect you to contact me on your own.
Light slopes
if
just
I
picked
want you
up.
to contact me, you should, but no problem. Brake. Osprey 5563, turn left now, heading 070. I'll intercept you from the east.
Left heading 070, Osprey 5563.
GT8 Hotel Charlie, descend 3,000 feet, QNH 1018.
Send 3,000 feet QNH 1018, BT head Hotel Charlie.
Osprey 490, turn right, heading 200.
Roger, I'm not going to make 8,000.
No No, I know, no problem. I'll give you delaying vectors. Turn right heading 200.
Right 200, Osprey 490.
Russell, very good day again. Euro Charter 2136, information Charlie on board, request the ATC clearance to Olbia.
Okay, so we're going to Neville now almost. We're going down to 3,000.
Charter 2136, Brussels arrival, hello, information Charlie current.
Minimum 220 knots until intercept, so let's set 220.
Runway 07 right, initial climb site level 60, squawk 1000.
Brandon, interesting. Your PFD was flickering and the GPU air cart was stuck to his plane when he was taxiing. Did he disable it before pushback though? Through transition, let's go to QNH 1018. Order break 2, let's finish our...
Turn left heading 33, correction, turn left heading 340, descend 3000
Now of course frequency 013, nav 1 and 2, and 1099 and 1099, both set and correct speed. Monitor that, make sure it's in limits.
And descend 3000, cleared ILS 01.
And the speed brake is arms. Speed needs to be in limits for flat deployment.
Left heading 320 for the intercept.
Left heading 320.
Engine start modes, let's put them both on continuous, just for good measure. And it's going to be flaps go around altitude set and things in a little while. 4,000 for the missed approach.
Bulgarian Cargo 502, yeah, I was just about to call you. Go for ATC on line 13, Unicom 122, that's late. Have a nice flight, bye.
So my frames haven't completely recovered, but it's enough to get us down.
Level 70, information Charlie current, expect vectors for the ILS approach, runway 01.
Kwasikuri, yeah.
Flight level 70, looking to 1 to Mike.
This is a 13 Mike below 10,000 feet, speed 250 knots.
Depressurizing nicely there.
Speed 2,000 knots, below 10,000 feet,
Okay, cool. Final dings. Thomas, welcome on board. Thanks for subscribing.
With the 8 Hotel Charlie, turn left heading 100, speed 220 knots.
Left 100 and speed 220, PMDG Hotel Charlie.
Osprey 5563, speed 180 knots or greater until 6 mile final.
Speed 180 or greater to 6 miles, Osprey 5563.
Russell's down there.
This is approach, looking at my here. Can you give me heading?
Ian, howdy.
Just a minute.
So I want to Mike, yeah, sorry, I was just about to give you heading. Turn right heading 210.
The VORs aren't going to do anything because we're tracking.
Osprey 490, turn right heading 020.
We're tracking the ILS, but we have got an ABF.
Bulgarian Cargo 2136, I have an amendment for your flight plan. Are you ready to copy?
Well, hopefully he does it quickly because we've got to turn left now.
Charter 2136.
Actually, sorry, first duty 8 Hotel Charlie, turn left heading 040, clear ILS approach, runway 01.
Left 040, cleared ILS 01, VD8 Hotel Charlie.
Bulgarian Charter 2136, it will be Ruby 8 Hotel departure for runway 07 left.
Approach mode arms.
07 left, Ruby 8 Hotel, Euro Charter 2136.
136, please be correct, star approved, deepers ready for push.
Star approved, we call Euro Charter 2136.
Osprey 5563, the wind 050 at 6, runway 01, clear to land.
Blown up. No, I don't.
01, clear to land, Osprey 5563.
That's going to be Philip there on the ILS.
Duty 8 Hotel Charlie, speed 180 knots or greater until 6 mile final.
180 or greater till 6, VD8 Hotel Charlie.
KLM 96, speed 250 knots.
250 knots, QNX.
Wow, yeah, frames have just tanked again. There's definitely something within MSFS today that is just not playing ball. We're going down to like 12. Flaps.
490, descend 3000 feet,
5.
QNH 1018.
Approach mode.
Descent 3000 feet, QNH 1018, Osprey 490.
I wonder if it's the long flight with the Aerosoft thing working in the background the whole time as well. Let's see here. CMDB as well.
MDG Hotel Charlie, continue approach runway 01, you're number 2 for landing.
Established and continue approach BTA Hotel Charlie. What are we at? 9.4, let's go gear down.
Right heading 120.
Right 120, Osprey 490.
Lufthansa 13 Mike, turn left heading 190.
180 till 6.
And descend, actually speed 220 knots.
220 knots and turn left heading 190.
I'm going to go flaps 15 now, just see what happens with the speed tape. We're getting close to never exceeds. Flaps 15, that's good, we're happy with that. Let's set 4,000 on the MCP for missed approach. Quick check of this. Flap set, landing go around, altitude set, or what's required. On 39. Here's down a green. And that is everything set for the approach. Flaps 30.
Lufthansa 13 Mike, descend 3000 feet, QNH 1018.
Descending 3000 feet, QNH 1018, Lufthansa 13 Mike.
Osprey 5563, welcome to Brussels, take it to the left.
Taking left, Osprey 5563.
Ian had loads of MSFS online disconnect pop-ups yesterday, 10 times in a 2-hour flight. It's incredible, isn't it? There's got to be something their end that's causing this weird leak with it. Something to do with the nav, well, the weather performance, the photogrammetry. Tell you what, it can be frustrating at times, this simulator. Beautiful aeroplane though. Yoep says Heathrow had it as well, must be a simulator scenery issue. Enrique's dropping 106 for the touchdown rating. Auto throttle off. And autopilot switched off. Let's mute those.
Charlie, the wind 050 at 6, runway 01, clear to land.
Clear land, runway 01, beauty at Charlie.
Get a 906, turn left heading 180, descend 3000 feet, QNH 1018.
Heading 180, descend level 30, QNH 1018, KLM 96.
Lufthansa 13 Mike, speed 200 knots.
200 knots.
Speed 395, request to start, gate 32.
Osprey 490, turn left heading 090.
Variable wind look on the nav display.
Osprey 5563, welcome to Brussels, taxi stands 209ers via outer 8
Making
and
it interesting. Continue.
Taxi 209 via Alpha and Tango, Osprey 5563.
This is the outer 8 and Tango.
Gate 34, request to push for start.
The outer 8 and Tango for Osprey 5563.
Apologies, outer 8 and Tango, Osprey 5563.
Station calling.
Oh my god, how is it that heavy? That can't be right.
305 Bravo, are you able to push onto Uniform?
473! That can't be correct, surely not. It didn't seem that heavy.
-6, speed 220 knots.
220 knots.
Let's get rid of
Okay,
that.
490, turn left heading 040, clear side, let's approach runway 01.
Go swing left. Yeah, Jay, but that did not seem right at all, did it? It was a lot smoother than 400 and something foot per minute, that's for sure. Ryanair, are we pleased?
GT8 Hotel Charlie, welcome to Brussels, taxi stand 2101, via the Outers and Tango.
Taxi stand 211 via the Outers and Tango, BT8, Hotel Charlie.
So 13 Mike, turn left heading 090.
Gotta find out where on earth we're going. Where's Tango? Okay, via the Outers and Tango, so it's a right turn.
Osprey 490, speed 180 knots or greater until 6 mile final.
180 or greater until 6 mile final.
Get rid of the speed brake. NTSB's dropping by. Right, landing lights off, taxi lights on, APU start, let's turn those off.
See the 395 able to view.
And what do we got? Shift V, Brussels, it's apron
about 30 seconds. Traffic
2, south,
Roger that, see the 395.
211, left, safe docks armed.
200 knots, turn left heading 100.
Maybe it's the VDGS, because I've just activated it, and all of a sudden now, it's become almost a slideshow with it active, so maybe it's to do with the fact that that's just been sitting in the background waiting. I don't know. Thing is, the problem with the sim is, just don't know half the time. Now, I know it's not the aircraft, because of performance and how it's been. Ian, thank you. Exactly, any landing you can walk away from is a good one. Actually, 9 frames isn't far off, we're at 13, which is bizarre. We never have this.
Push approved onto uniform facing east.
Push approved onto uniform facing east. See the 395 Bravo.
Thunder 13 Mike, turn left heading 040, clear
Quick check of this, taxi on start bleed, transponder needs to go as required.
The left heading 040 and clear to left 01. Thunder 13 Mike.
Osprey 490, the wind 050 at 6, runway 01, clear to land.
Ropeats can go off.
Osprey 490.
Where are we in relation?
To Romeo, information Charlie current, expect vectors for the ILS approach runway 01.
211's there in the south, we've got to get a little bit further to go.
Information Charlie and expecting vectors for ILS approach 01.
Or Tranquil, it's going to be something to do with the photogrammetry or the weather data leaking, or maybe this VDGS stuff, but I'll try and work it out. Thing is, you just don't know. As Blown Up says, there's no debug tools for the SDK, so it's always a mystery. But I can't think it would be the Brussels scenery, because it's usually very good on performance. The only thing I've just noticed is we lost about 4 or 5 frames per second the second I've selected the VDGS to go active here.
Kilo 96, left heading 070.
070, Kilo 96.
Nice taste, no worries buddy, thank you.
GT8 Hotel Charlie, give way to the traffic pushing onto... there will be traffic passing Tango that's pushing, give way to them.
Yeah, say firm, do you want me to hold on the outers?
BT8 Hotel Charlie, yeah, from hold short of Tango actually.
Yeah, okay, hold short Charlie, correction Tango, BD8 Hotel Charlie. Faster caution for the anti-ice.
Looks like you overshot the ILS, do you want another vector?
No, it's all wet.
We'll leave that on for a minute. Ian, no, it started about an hour and a half into the flight, which is super weird. But we have had the VDGS client in the background since we left Marrakech. Oh hey, look at that. There's the ambulance for everybody complaining of back pain. I don't think it's this scenery. It's very well performing. It could be the VDGS module. I know it's not the aeroplane. It's certainly something to do with the cache.
On the 13 Mike, speed 180 knots or greater until 6 mile final.
Jay says his frames went down on the approach to Brussels. Did you arm the VDGS as well? In Marrakech. So I loaded the pop-up window to see if I could preload Brussels already or not. We have to go park brake on here. We're at that little dashed line. Hold short tango for the British Airways aircraft. Pushing back there. I'll tell you what though, after that landing we're definitely going to the hangar. Fantastic. Look how good this looks. Tell you what, that landing did give you, Ghost, the option to apply for a Martin Baker ejection watch for pulling so much G.
Outside of my airspace, so monitor Unicom and start descent with 0 on the session.
Copy. KLM 608.
VDGS Hotel Charlie, you can resume taxi.
Or just say again, Beauty 8 Hotel Charlie.
VDGS Hotel Charlie, traffic has passed Tango, you can resume taxi.
Yeah, continue taxi, Beauty 8 Hotel Charlie, thanks.
Air Charter 2136, stand 126, request pushback, Kinetic 1018.
Now I'm back to 20 frames per second. How weird.
136 at squawk mode Charlie and push approved face west.
So all I've done there is I've closed the landing rate monitor on FS Hub. I don't usually get memory leak with that though, that's for sure. But I've got... Okay, well now it's dropped back down to 50. Who knows what it is? It's a bloody mystery, isn't it? Tango 211 coming up. We should be looking out for the VDGS to go active. Get out of the way, follow me car. Want to go APU
Mike, the wind
leads?
350 at 8, runway 01, clear to land.
Clear to head on runway 01, 13 Mike.
It's first time parking with active VDGS working as well.
Taxi stands 234 via Sierra.
27?
234 via Sierra.
211, isn't it?
180 knots or greater until 6 mile final. Continue approach, your number 2.
Ellis, hello, yeah, absolutely. It's a mystery, isn't it? 211, and actually I can see the VDGS now, look. Boeing 737-700. Oh, it actually says it as well. I've got to. Try and get a little screenshot of that, I think.
Okay, Alpha Victor 1, I don't know why, but I hear you very quietly. Can you send your message via text?
Listen to that noise from the fan blades as well. That for VDGS. I love this scenery, it's so good. On to stand, we've got to go.
Good afternoon, B-line 5.
Taxi lights off. The mystery is part of the fun, yes. It just, I mean, memory leaks in Microsoft Flight Simulator make no sense whatsoever half the time.
148 for the clearance to Oslo.
Okay, so we're following the flight, the VDGS now. Once we're turning onto stand here, we should start to get some direction from it in a second. Let's reset the view here. Ellis, wow, that's impressive, reading the wrong thing there. Here we go. Blown up, yes. There's the ambulance, look, we got 2 of them now for you guys. I think that was one of the heaviest landings I've done on the in the sim ever. Okay, we're nicely on the centre line here. Following the VDGS.
Charlie 6 runway 07 right via the inner QNH 1018.
Just slow the aeroplane down a little bit here. He's coming out for the chocks. This is one of the best sceneries you could ever have. too far. Let's do a bit of a cheeky one. Professional. Wouldn't have even known. That's my OCD. I had to do that. Right, okay, that's showing okay now. Let's go shutdown check, spark brake set, fuel control levers to the off positions. 1 and 2. Anti-collision lights off. Got to do that one. What do we got here? Fuel pumps as required, ground equipment in position, so we've got to make sure the chocks are on.
5 Lima November, level 205 inbound Betty.
Menu, FS actions, ground services, chocks.
Principal arrival, radar contact information, delta current, expect vector for the ILS approach, runway 01.
We're going to do jetway connection. And we're going to trigger that now.
We have information delta on board, expect vector Silas 01, and for now Betty 5 Alpha, arrival 4 beeline 5 Lima November.
KM906, the wind 350 at 8.
Get you guys the insurance claim forms for your spinal, your doctor's notes and things later on. Fuel pumps as required, isolation valve goes to the open position now.
Welcome to Brussels, taxi stand 170 via Mike and inner 5.
Like so.
170 via Mike.
And we can turn the flight directors off. We can consider going to GPU should we want to as well. We're going to need to stretch it. Oh, interestingly.
And Beta 5 Lima 100, descent flight level
110
to be leveled by Flora.
Down to level 110 to be leveled by Flora, beeline 5 Lima November.
Let's get a nice screenshot here of that VDGS with our little on blocks time, look. Let's see, got to get the winglet in and something as well, something, a key feature of the aircraft like that. The engines or something. There we go. Can I find somewhere your graphics settings? Yes, let's have a little look. In fact, let's check out, now we've turned everything off. So the frames haven't changed, so it's definitely not the aeroplane. But we would have noticed a frames issue before if it was. Right, so in here you guys wanted to see this quickly. So these are my graphics settings. V-syncs off, render scaling just set to 100, anti-aliasing TAA, 200 for level of detail, and everything's set pretty much to high, except for object level of detail. Everything's pretty much high. Texture synthesis ultra, windshield effects ultra, ambient occlusion on ultra, ray march and light shafts, and depth of field on ultra. And that's it.
Hello, KM96 to taxi stand 142 via Mike.
Might just change that one on the fly, and I will. See, interestingly, data consumption, you used to be able to reset that.
Can we take a runway 07 right, speedbed 39
but the option to reset that seems to have disappeared for me, so I don't understand how you would. Current data consumption.
Getting charter 2136, taxi holding point Bravo 9.
It's like it's not resetting, so something's getting stuck. Right, rolling cache. We want, was it that?
1018, taxi holding point Bravo 9, runway 07 left, and QNH 1018, you're charter.
God, this simulator is so frustrating, isn't it, sometimes? Was it 32 or was it 64?
Again, charter 2136, roger, taxi holding point Bravo 10 via inner 2 and outer 1.
Inner 2, outer 1, Bravo 10, you're charter 136.
Does clicking the power on the Pushback app give you ground power through the FEGP instead of the GPU? That's a question I don't know the answer to. The VDGS was beautiful, David, wasn't it? Well, Ellis, yeah, I mean, because I'm streaming as well, a lot of my bits have to... A lot of the resources have to go towards the stream as well, and a lot of the other stuff that runs alongside it. But yeah, interesting. We're going to set this rolling cache. There we go, that's set. It's the data reset thing which is weird, because I've never had a limit. I've never had a limit on a tool, but it doesn't allow you to reset, which is rather weird.
Next left turn takes you onto the inners, and then stand 142 on your left.
Yeah, thanks. Just checking on my charts. Kilo 96.
Who said something about light shafts? Light shafts, no difference. Let's go. Let's stick that on medium then.
Good afternoon, with you west of Kirky at flight level 230, KLM 447.
KLM 447, vessel arrival, radar contact information Delta current.
Yeah, you can. Well, you can. I find I get a little bit more smoothness through this though. That's the only thing.
And Delta for the 80s, KLM 447.
Now after we've tinkered with this, I'm going to turn Fly Live Studio back on. I'm going to see what frames I get, and it's there's no difference. So there's something locked in the cache, but it's all good. We made it.
Just again, some bugs. I don't know what's happening today.
There we go, folks.
Bravo, do you want to go back to a stand, or do you can you do another departure?
I'll do another
Turn
departure.
on, then set limit, and turn it off again. Alright, let's do that. So you guys can troubleshoot the same way as well.
Just confirm, stand or runway?
Let's set 10 gig. You've reached the limit.
Yeah, for Bravo, Roger. Take next on your left, and okay, disconnected.
Okay, let's do 100 gig.
Bravo Papa, request push and start.
Online services unreachable. How weird.
November turn left heading 280.
Left heading 280, blind 5 November.
Station calling for push again.
Beeline 5 Bravo Papa.
Yeah, 5 Bravo Papa, set squawk mode Charlie in hold position for now. Traffic passing behind.
Squawking Charlie and holding position. Beeline 5 Bravo.
Look, how weird is that? We've turned it off again, but it won't let us reset the data that's been used. There used to be an option here that said reset consumption limit or something like that, but it doesn't appear, which is really weird. I don't know. Microsoft Flight Simulator being Microsoft Flight Simulator, what can I say? It could be alright. Pain sometimes. $50,000 gigabytes. Maybe I should try that.
Yeah, 5 Bravo Papa, push it through, face east.
There we are. Beautiful Aerosoft Brussels scenery. And a wonderful PMDG 737, which is hopefully, if all goes well.
Yeah, 5 Bravo, Roger. So same clearance for you, report ready to push.
Same clearance and we'll report ready to push.
It'll go up to a release this weekend coming. All well and good. Who knows? Fingers crossed, eh? Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream, and great to have all you guys fly along as well. I'm going to do a little bit of troubleshooting tips to try and clear some of the weird things that are going on inside my simulator at the moment, because we seem to have the old sim update 8/9 frames per second issue, but we've had a really nice flight, in any case, from Marrakech Menara in the PMDG 737-700. Let's see. Before you head off, make sure you hit like and subscribe. And for the PMDG 737 resources I've created, head over to the website britishafgeek.com/PMDG-737. And I hope to see you guys over the next few days for another live stream, potentially with the 146-300 as well, to Ibiza. Thanks for watching everybody, thanks for our ATC and our fellow pilots who flew along. Welcome to all of our new subscribers. I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching and take care.
447, turn right, heading 160.
Right, 160, KLM 447.